Okay, I'm going to call this meeting to order. I am calling this meeting to order. This is November 3rd council meeting on a Tuesday, the Monday before the Tuesday election. We have Tuesday elections going back to our farmers' days in the whole bit, and that was the right time for the farmers. So that's why it's on a Tuesday and a Tuesday so they could get it there for a day and get home from it. I looked that up in the whole bit. I wanted to know exactly why it's Tuesday. So we'll be cognizant because our entire staff runs the election tomorrow. So we'll try to get through this in a business-like fashion today. So let's begin by all standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you very much. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great. So if you didn't, I see some newcomers in here. If you come in to the right, it's kind of your master of, I'm the master of ceremony of all the things that are on there. So we've already gone to the call of order, the pledge. We will go to the roll call. Michaela, our clerk, if you could give that roll call, please.
Carter.
Here.
Janetti. Here. Krenz.
Here.
Morosky Brown.
Here.
Turnbull.
Great. We have a full quorum. We actually, I read online, we canceled a couple meetings. We had one because we didn't have a full quorum. We had two people that weren't going to be here. I'd like everybody to hear this and have the opportunity to read. There's 300 or 400 pages each time. So we waited until this one. So thank you for being here tonight. Going to the next one, approval of the agenda. You have an agenda in front of you, straightforward. And if I could get a motion to go forward with that agenda.
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Support. We have a motion properly supported. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I think we can do this. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Great. We have an agenda. So now we will go to number 4, public comment. Something that is not on the agenda. So the things on the agenda tonight is snow emergency removal. If you're here for that, wait. If you're here for the Vector truck, the big vacuum truck, wait for that. Rogers and Thayer, I see a few people from the hood here, so wait until we get to that if you want to say anything. Regulations on the central business district on the street level, wait for that. Self-funded agreement with the DDA project, so they'll talk about that, wait for that. Approved foundation work on Ford Field, wait for that. And the last thing is Grissim Metz a contract. If you're here for any of those things, I will give you the opportunity for 2 minutes to speak on that. I see we have Parks and Recreation. You all get 2 minutes. You're not going to get that, but we'll go from there. So if it's anything other than that, this is the time to speak. This is the only time things that are not on the agenda. Is there anybody in council chambers that'd like to speak on anything not on the agenda tonight? Going once, going twice. Okay, I've closed off public comment for things not on the agenda. I will bring it back on each one of those items. And if you could say, Ken, how they go online and touch your phones, that'd be the thing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Again, anyone that may be watching at home on YouTube, if you'd like to make public comment, we ask that you call in on the public comment toll-free number. You can find the detailed instructions in the agenda. Once you are in the meeting, we will ask you to press *9 on your keypad to raise your virtual hand. And then once we see your virtual hand raised, we will call on you to make public comment.
Great. So I'm opening up for public comment online, things that are not on the agenda. I don't see any hands raised. Do you see any, Ken?
Not at this time, Mr. Mayor.
How many are online?
You get about half a dozen watching the channel, but not in the comment.
Okay, yep,
Correct.
Great. So going once, going twice. Everybody online, you have a chance when we get to the different subjects. Okay, I'm closing off public comment that's online for things not on the agenda. So let's go. I'm closing off
Just
number 4. Go right ahead.
I will just mention that we did receive written public comment.
Yes.
They came in and we were able to read them. It came in a little after 4 p.m.
Right.
today. So the whole packet's been updated with those. We have 12 persons that wrote up a written comment. So thank you to everyone that did that.
Again, if you want to go in more detail, you can write it all. The expectation of myself is everybody to go through those packages. So if you want to come to council and say the highlights, but put it in detail, please do. So we have 12 of those at this meeting, and we've all read through those. Was there any later ones that came in, Michaela? Great. So thank you very much for mentioning that, Mayor Pro Tem. Let's go on to number 5, consideration of approving the following consent agenda. A lot on there. You can see as you go through there from
There's a lot.
There's a lot from different lists of reports, the minutes, to the different people we put on the various commissions. Every quarter, one quarter we had 48 people for 7 positions. So the Mayor Pro Tem and I have gone through that and give everybody 15 minutes to let us know why they want to be on activities. So a little bit of that and background checks at Allen Terrace and other things. Those are all online. These have been online. If you have any questions, go and look at that detail. I'm looking for a motion to have the consent agenda approved. Do we have that motion?
So moved.
So we have a motion. Do I have support for the motion?
Support.
Support from Councilperson Janetti. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Great. We have a consent agenda. So let's go on now to number 6, presentations. We have no presentations tonight. Super. Number 7, public hearings. We have no official public hearings tonight. Number 8, unfinished business. We usually finish our business, so we don't have that. So 9, we are going to new business now for tonight. So 9A, the proposed ordinance amendment. This is the policy and procedures for snow removal. Mike, let us know what's going on that.
Yep.
Give us a litany of reasons why we're going to.
Thank you, Mayor and
Go ahead.
Council. In front of you is a proposal to amend our ordinance, Chapter 74, Streets, Sidewalks, and Other Public Places. This is to add snow emergencies, something we currently don't have, and we are one of a few or a couple left in Western Wayne that does not have a snow emergency ordinance.
Mhm.
So right now, we do not have the power or authority to call a snow emergency if one is declared by, say, the National Weather Services.
And let the audience know too. Snow emergency, move all your cars out of the way. We have, our trucks go through. Give them that Reader's
The
Digest
snow
version of that.
emergency would be declared as listed in the proposed ordinance is 3 to 4 inches.
Right.
And I'm going to, something I want to add to that, which is going to be at the next reading, is also ice.
Right.
And that we declare that the city declares, the city manager or their designee declares a snow emergency, requesting that all vehicles be removed off all streets and
Right.
roads, which that's another portion that I'll be adding. That just a
It
little.
makes it easier for you and your DPW team.
Correct, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Not just us, DPW, help
Right.
clear the roads for all our, police and fire.
Sure.
If it's, that's why it's all streets. I know in my memo it says for specifically snow routes.
Right.
This would actually be for all streets and roads within the city.
Make it simple.
Just because even though it's maybe not our major street or it's a dead end cul-de-sac,
Yes.
if police or fire need to get there, we want to make sure that vehicles are off the road and DPW can get there first and get the road cleared for them.
Great.
So,
Excellent. So tonight, this is the first reading on that, and I will open it up, see if.
I hit a couple minor things before.
Great.
So a couple after getting it posted, also further discussions with others. I do need to make some tweaks to section 74-190, the declaration of emergency. I want to add ice to that instead of just 3 to 4 inches of snow. I want to add ice as well. I also want to add the fact that how we're going to declare it, either through social media, the news, text messaging, Nixle. So that needs to get added as well. Some minor edits as well. City manager declares it, and then later in that paragraph, I say the police chief. I need to change it to city manager. So you guys, yep. So you guys see that at the next reading. I'll have those
At the
changed.
second reading of this?
Yep.
Great.
And then section 74-191, the parking prohibit during emergencies. I want to make sure it's pointed out there that all streets and roads will be enforced.
Okay. Excellent. You'll have that ready for the second reading.
Yep.
Great.
So with that, happy to answer any questions. Both the police chief, captain, who reviewed this, same with the city attorney. So I'm happy to answer any questions. If not,
I'll open it up for
looking for
anybody.
a second
Council
reading
have
to be set for next meeting.
any questions or clarifying questions? I'll open up for the audience. Consider this the first reading and anything you want to say. Anybody from council?
Cars will be ticketed if they're out there when they're not supposed to be? Is
Yes,
that how you'll handle it?
yep. So that's what's proposed. Yep.
Well, and then towed
And
potentially.
eventually towed, yes.
Is that correct? Right?
Same day?
4
hours.
Yes.
And do they get a warning ticket like we give everybody else?
In an emergency, there won't be no.
Okay, I just want to make sure everybody hears that.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a warning, you know, it's the second one that we get a little bit more serious, so everybody gets, isn't that right?
Well, I think we're
Chief?
saying, no, I think you're saying.
No, not
The
on that,
opposite.
on the parking, but
Right.
Parking, yeah.
I understand. I
But on the
understand.
city
I just
street
want to make sure
during-
they know they don't get a do-over on this one.
Right.
I understand.
Could be.
No, I know. My wife will leave a car out.
Mike, why haven't we had this before? I'm glad that we're pulling it forward.
Yeah.
It's long overdue for sure, but.
I'm really not sure why. It's unsure.
Thank
Like
you
I
for sending it.
I think there's one other community besides us in Western Wayne that doesn't have one.
And we're updating these policies and procedures at 200 years worth of history around here. We are updating a lot of them that have hardly ever been updated. So we're going by every ordinance. So we're
Yeah.
catching this along with other things. So we're making it modern for the next council and mayor. So it'll be more, it'll be
And,
easier around here.
you know, there is some areas in the city that are, would say priority streets, our hills and sharp curves, and DPW faces park cars there all the time. And it's hard for us to, to do our job, clear the road, not just for, for police and fire, but also for public safety, school buses, pedestrian.
Mike, it's,
Nixle, Facebook, but
Yep.
also local news.
Have passed, we've had sent out nixels, requesting people, not.
It's Nancy, I'm sorry.
When in doubt, turn it off.
I
Not,
know.
Very disappointing.
not declaring a snow emergency, but.
It was on, oh, she's not stopping.
Sean,
hi Nancy.
Everybody say.
I have no further questions. I have no further questions.
I had the phone turned off.
This would be a good time to say, check your phones right now. Make sure they're on mute. Thank you very much. Duly noted.
Couple of questions
Yep.
while
I
we
did-
address.
Turn the whole thing off. The two buttons I'll show.
Insisted.
Yep.
So Mike, a couple quick questions. One, based on the update then, will we not have snow routes that are treated differently? Will all roads be treated consistently?
No, we'll still be, everything will be treated the same as it comes to calling snow routes for our crews coming in. We have our call routes, our Bear Street policy, and then our secondary streets as well. That's not going to change. It's, you're looking for those heavier snow events or ice events, that we ask for cars to be off, because that's when we're going to be doing the entire city.
Yep.
Not just the smaller areas.
So a couple of thoughts. One, you referenced police and fire. I know this is something that has come up in conversations, often indirectly, but how to manage these situations from a police perspective and in terms of Chief Sam had as well. So I would encourage them being proactively involved in any discussions on how we're managing it, making sure that feedback's being incorporated. Communication, I think, is going to be the key. So what I would recommend is when we send out, I don't know if it's the last, the November utilities bill that goes out, or let's include a letter that explains this to residents, because I know day of there will be notifications and all of the sources mentioned, but
Yep.
we've got to figure out a way that everyone is aware that this policy is going to change.
All right.
Because even though we're one of the last to do it, it's still a change, and there are people who don't think to go move their car in
Absolutely.
when a major storm hits.
And I'll touch base on that
Yep.
real quick. So this ordinance plus another ordinance of making sure people keep their snow on their own private property was a priority that council and city staff had at the beginning of the year.
Right.
And so looking at that, we really looked, our ordinance already has it in there where people are supposed to keep their snow on their private property. So that's why I'm not coming today in front of you for that. After this is going through, we plan on sending out some type of reminder every year. One, keep your snow on your own private property. Two, snow emergencies can be in effect at any time. It's just informational.
Right. Kind of like on Ford Field, on CVS, they've been pushing it towards with that new ADA entryway, and that would crush our new fences and what have you. So yeah, I've mentioned it to them, and you'll officially, and on this, we have to tell them what we're going to tell them it, and then tell them what we told them
Yeah.
with every kind of media activity.
Are we, just finishing kind of round of questions, are we consistent? I know we're saying 3 to 4 inches of snow. Is that consistent with other communities that have implemented a similar policy? And is it always based on amount of snow? Because you can have other winter weather events that can cause just as many issues and only have an inch or two, but have significant ice or.
Correct. And the first question, similar to other communities, everywhere's a little different. Some have 5 to 6 inches, some have 1 to 2 inches. It all depends on how you declare as an emergency. We will fall back on the National Weather Service.
And you'll be looking at, you'll
We'll be the
determine
ones
if it
really
is, right?
determining that if it's going to be emergency.
So that would be my recommendation, is we provide flexibility. I wouldn't want it to just be a flat 3 to 4 inch policy. Allow us to have flexibility to make that announcement if it looks like we're going to have a situation that may not hit that threshold, but does have serious.
You'll probably
traffic
make that
concerns.
final call depending on the snow and when it is and what have you.
Yep.
3 was, because it said we're only one of 2 Western Wayne County communities that haven't instituted. 3 is the most 3 inches or more with the provision for or icing, severe icing conditions, or hazardous icing. That 3 is the most common, although after that, it's all over the place, but
And you'll make that call.
So one thing I would remind people, I always mention it whenever I'm at communities, meetings, coffees, is signing up for Nixle as our preferred communication for emergencies. At the bottom of the website, it's got a tab for Nixle. That's where you get your emergency alerts from everything from tornado to winter storms to an accident on the road. Cities really don't use the sirens that much anymore. Sirens are fine for alerting somebody if they're not aware something's going on. It wakes you up in the night, but it doesn't tell you anything. Nixle gives you alerts and tells you what's going on as well. So that really, I would encourage all of our residents, and I always do, to sign up for Nixle and get those alerts from the police, from Public Works, and snow emergencies is a good example of that. So thanks.
Good point. Any other questions from council members? Any questions or comments? Not questions, comments, public input on this? Going once? Come right up. Lenore, I haven't seen you lately.
Lenore Lewandowski, 119 Randolph Street. So Mr. Domini mentioned about sending a letter out, which I think is a great idea. Can we also include in that letter to remind people about keeping their sidewalks clear?
Yep.
When there's,
That should be part B of.
because I've walked many times and there are places that don't clear their sidewalks and then it just gets compacted and it's just not a very safe thing.
Good,
So
good.
if we could add that to the letter, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Certainly. And no, if it gets to a point, we, the city, will remove that snow and charge them at times. But we have policies and procedures. We give them a leeway and then it goes to the next level. Good. Any other comments here in council chambers? Going once, going twice? Okay, I'm closing council chambers. Anybody online that has a hand raised? I know we can't see all the people, but
Yeah, you have no one
No
on
hand
the
raisers?
caller line at this point, Mr. Mayor.
okay, so going once, going twice. Okay, I'm closing off those online. So you are not looking for a motion tonight? This is the
Nope, I
first
do.
reading?
I have a-
Oh, you do? Okay, you have a sample motion in your package there. Pardon me, you're right. So,
Mayor, I'll do it.
okay, go
I
right
move
ahead.
that City Council approve the first reading of the proposed amendment to Chapter 74 Street Sidewalks and Other Public Places Snow Emergency Ordinance as presented with and updates as noted by DPW Director, with a second reading and possible adoption as soon as November 17th, 2025.
Great. So we have a motion. We have support of that motion. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I think we can do it this way. All in favor, say aye. All opposed, say no. Okay, you have a motion.
Thank you.
The next one will be the binding one when we
Yes.
go after
Yep.
that one.
And I'll have the edits as well.
Right. Absolutely. Thank you. Stay right there. The proposed Vector truck, the big vacuum truck of life, is that next on the agenda? Talk to
So in
us.
front of you is the equipment purchase for a new Vector truck. So just like a fire truck, the most important vehicle in DPW is our Vector truck. This Vector truck's used for cleaning sanitary sewers, storm sewers, catch basins, but most importantly, hydro excavating for anything underground that we perform. Anywhere from water main breaks, water valves, hydrant replacements, service lines. Even we use it up in our cemetery from time to time as well. Our current Vector truck, so I should say Vector trucks are normally live or last about 10 to 15 years if maintained well. Ours is over 20 years old. It has a lot of missing pieces on it that are puzzle piece from other used Vector trucks. We got some duct tape on there as well, holding it together as well. The old truck, a lot of the parts are obsolete. So a new water pump would normally cost maybe $3,000 to $5,000 to replace. We have to get a custom one built for ours that costs nearly $10,000 to $13,000. Same thing with the cyclones that help actually make the hydrovacting. We just got a quote for about $12,000 to replace those. So, and the estimated value of our truck is only about $40,000. So,
Great. Somebody will buy it for that out there.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
what happened? What happens to the old one?
I'm proposing to trade it in.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
So we get some money like a
Yep.
used car.
We don't have to make the decision until a new one's delivered, but ideally trade it in for what they've offered, or we can put it up for auction and see what we get. We at that time we will take a look and see how similar rigs are going.
Right.
It's hard to say just because the next topic I was going to talk about is how custom our Vector is. So there's many different types of Vector trucks you can purchase. They're pretty much custom to your needs. However, ours is custom on size and height. We have Doheny Bridge that we have to get underneath, but also our garage is a very old garage with only 12-foot high doors. So looking at used or gently used with low hours, trucks have been pretty difficult finding something that would fit in our garage. This is a truck that is used all year round, has water in it, so it has to be in a climate controlled area.
Right.
So
And we've had the opportunity right now, the township, we borrow theirs if we need to. You have a great relationship.
Yeah, we have a mutual
And we'll
aid with
keep
them.
doing that. That's our backup right now. So we don't need two because we have theirs as a backup. They want to buy a new one. We really want their old one because, you know, they don't own any roads or infrastructure. So theirs is brand new, you know, even though it's a little older. We would love to do that, but they want to keep it as a backup. It's great for us. They
Right.
get to house it. They keep it there. And you have a great working relationship. If we need it, you've borrowed it on.
Yep, same.
So I think that's a
Same
good
with them. If they
strategy.
need anything from us, we're here to help as well.
Great.
We reached out to as of this year, Jack Doheny down the street was the sole source provider of Vector trucks, and now it's McQueen Group. So we reached out to them to get a quote. We looked at two different chassis. One it was International, and that is what is proposed in front of you today. Is a International chassis with a custom Vector body to it. It's not cheap, if you can see. I think the last one we bought for under 300,000. Now we're at about 604,000. So,
And we will use that township one as much as possible to keep this one new.
so unfortunately, our funding in the equipment fund, we do not have enough budgeted. Right now, we only have 150,000. So we are looking at other options, such as like a bank loan, an installment purchase, which we've done in other departments within the city for other equipment. This will be the first time for DPW. So
You're usually putting money aside each and every month for a new
Yep.
Vector.
Yep.
This just happens to be a very large purchase. Okay, I got you.
So what I'm asking today is to approve the purchase of this truck at the full amount of the $604,000. That way I can get the build process going on this Vector trucks. It takes about 6 months to build. Before, we don't have to make any type of payment till we take delivery of it. But before that, I will be coming back to council with all the financial options that we'll be looking at going towards that.
It might be reduced because you're going to trade that other one
It might be
in.
reduced, we would trade the other
Gotcha.
one. Also, I've been told it might reduce based off of the pricing of the actual chassis itself.
Great.
The chassis price could go down as well.
Super.
We'll be locking into this price, but no more. It'd be going, if anything, it'd go less.
And you
It all
have the
depends
backup
on-
with the township too, to borrow theirs. Even if ours went down today,
Yeah.
you have that
Yeah,
opportunity.
and from what I've been told from the vendor is it's based off tariffs. If tariffs are lower by time some of the stuff comes in as during the build process, it might be reduced the price as well.
Sure.
A lot of metal.
Great.
So
Excellent.
with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any clarifying questions to Mike? I think we rolled it out.
Here.
You have it already.
Excuse me, I have
Yep.
like allergy and sinus.
I understand.
Yeah, antibiotics for it, but anyway, so sorry. So the 604, there'll probably be some budget amendment, but you
Oh,
might,
yeah, it's in my
but you
motion.
might do
yes.
the loan, so do overtime
It'd be overtime, yes.
and that would be an internal loan.
It will not be internal.
Oh, it would not be internal. Okay.
So, it would be a loan, we have to go out for the loan. It's not
Oh,
internal.
out, okay,
Yeah.
because I saw the Public Act 99. All right.
So, similar to, I believe there was the ladder truck. How they,
Oh, is that?
I think it was over 10 years.
Right, yep.
So,
All right, thanks.
Which now the township
Big
has
ticket,
that
yeah.
opportunity. It's closer to us than it ever was. So it's
That's
great,
quite a-
great to get here, and it goes under that Doheny Bridge too, I believe.
yes,
That's
Thank
quite
you
a
very much.
price increase
Good.
from, I mean, the last one was a long time ago, but
correct.
Do you have a comment there?
Yeah, mine, I
Councilperson
mean,
Carter?
in terms of this purchase, 20 years seems like a reasonable lifetime for a truck.
Yeah.
Completely agree and we need to be committed into our equipment for DPW. One of the points that I want to raise is less about this vote and more. I know we've been very proactive in establishing the equipment fund and building it out from a fire standpoint, from a police standpoint. And I know we've had conversations and there's support in the city around establishing a DPW equipment fund and building that over time. I think it's really important that, similar to how we handle fire and police, we are able to look at all of our equipment within DPW. What's the timeline and the age of that equipment? What years do we think that is going to be turning over? So that we can start proactively setting aside funds and starting to manage that as much as possible. And so that would be my ask, is probably less around this purchase than starting to look at a timeline that shows all of the full fleet of vehicles, what their years are, what the life expectancies are, the costs associated, so we can start doing that from a long-term planning perspective.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Because you've accrued for a lot of things. This just happens to be your biggest and baddest
This is
purchase.
Yeah, this is the most, probably will
Okay.
be the most expensive piece of
Okay.
equipment we would need to purchase, but
Good.
also the most important.
Yep.
But like John said, we have an older fleet of vehicles. The snow plow trucks you see on the street today, besides one of them, which we got in 2020, all the rest are about 15 to 20 years old as well. But they can last a long time if they're maintained well and have a good crew that maintains them real well.
Great, thank you. Any other comments up here?
No, I was just going to echo what Councilmember Carter said about capital forecasting and accrual of balances over time. We'll get to that part.
Great.
He said exactly what I was thinking.
Any comments here from those in council chambers in the vac truck of life? Going once, going twice? Okay, closing it off. Anybody online that has comments on the vac truck?
You have no callers on the comment line at this time, Mr. Mayor?
Great, excellent. I mean, of course, I always want those comments. We will close that off online. With that, I'm looking for a motion to go forward for the vac truck today. And it's a sample in your package. Do we have that motion? Oh, we go, hang on, before we do that.
We did realize when I got here, started talking about I talked to council members about the fact that our public works has been a little bit neglected. And we started putting $50,000 a year. That's kind of a placeholder into the future. Obviously, we didn't have enough time to build up the 600,000 over the last
Right.
couple of years, but it is there now as a
So you knocked it
placeholder to
up.
start. And last year we had a truck fail and had to get a new F1 and F350, I think. So,
Right.
so we are aware of the thing and have it budgeted at this point. Likely over time, we'll have to increase that.
Yep.
So you're showing them the love, you're accruing more.
Showing them the love.
Good, excellent. I'm looking for the motion of love here.
I move that city council authorize the public works director to sign the attached agreement for purchase of the new Vector truck from McQueen Group in the amount of $604,227, waive the bidding process. I further move to authorize city staff to proceed with the installment purchase contract process and the sale of the current Vector truck following the city of Northville's standard equipment disposal practices.
We have a motion. I'm looking for support of that motion. We have support and there's discussion. Any additional? Okay, seeing none. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. You got a new truck. Go get it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next one is in my hood, Rogers and Thayer, looking at the opportunity to put a street stop sign in there. I believe, Chief, you are there. You've talked to the neighborhood and they are here and they will have comments.
This is your neighborhood.
This is the hood. This is my hood. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Mayor, members of City Council. Tonight before you is proposal to add approved traffic controller 25-07. That's for an all-way stop at the T intersection at Rogers and Thayer. So a little background on this, a couple years ago, and actually this goes way back and some of the residents are here to explain a little bit later. But a couple of years ago, we had a vehicle. It was a young driver who was traveling on Rogers, turning onto Katy, and struck the house on the corner there. It would be the northeast corner. And then so at that time, we had some communication with the neighborhood and there was some traffic studies done at that time. Most recently, we had an accident a couple weeks ago where a driver had pulled out onto Rogers from Katy and was struck by the vehicle. They disregarded the stop sign. And after the accident actually ended up in the front yard of a resident's house and basically almost striking their house, coming inches from the bedroom window. And so talking with the neighbors in the neighborhood, there were two traffic studies over the years that were generated, one from F&B, one from TIA that's in your packet. And please know, and I think everyone knows this up here, that these are engineering standards that must be met to recommend a traffic control device there, and that was for that stop sign. And they look at speeds, they look at accidents in the area, and none of those met the criteria to make that the three-way stop. Most recently, after the accident a couple of weeks ago, the residents from that neighborhood reached out to us and we had a meeting with city staff along with council members Krenz and council member Carter and city manager. And we met with them and they voiced their opinion about the importance and basically what's going on Rogers. Obviously, no traffic study can look at what they see every day and what's important. So from listening to them and realizing what goes on there, I am recommending that we do make that the intersection a three-way stop. That would be Thayer and Rogers. And please know, and I put in the packet as well, that this is not an engineering decision, it's a city decision. I did reach out to our city attorney and he did agree with my recommendation. And he can answer any questions you have as well. But if approved tonight, the three-way stop will go into effect. From one of the traffic studies, we did add a crosswalk, newly updated crosswalk signs there. Those can come down, and I did talk with TIA about that because the stop signs will act as now the control for that crosswalk. That's the crosswalk ahead signs can stay, but the stop sign ultimately will have that. So if council have any questions, I can answer that, and then I'm sure there's some residents selling.
Great.
As well.
First, I'd like to thank you for your flexibility. The numbers and the data said it didn't need it, but the neighborhood, we understand what goes up and down. And I wasn't part of the meeting because we can only have two there. Three is a quorum and I have to step away from that. But I appreciate you listening to the neighbors. Neighbors went around to get everybody's input. This is one of those decisions, what's the right thing to do? And we tried to do a crosswalk in there that slowed down. We did a little crosswalk, member, in the middle of the street. This is the next level. So from my standpoint, I appreciate the flexibility in meeting with the neighborhood on that. So
yeah, and so a couple of things I didn't mention, and obviously they went through our new application for traffic control. Calming or traffic calming. They got over 90% signatures from the neighborhood, which is well above 60%. And then I know we talked about this a lot in the meeting. It may come up, with the closings at Center. Rogers is getting a fair amount of traffic right now as the cut.
Right.
So
other questions?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I'll start.
Please.
Big thank you to you and Northville Police Department because we met on October 24th. And we're here already. That is lightning fast on these orders. So this community is very fortunate to have you and the NPD represented us. This does go back a while. I've heard complaints on Rogers going all the way back to when the street got repaved in 2019, that there was a lot of speed. Also, when you look at the TIA reports and everything, what they don't take into account is the proximity of the houses to the streets. So we already had the house actually get struck. And then the other neighbor this year was within inches. So I think having the leeway for us to say that in a historic community where these homes are so close to the street, this isn't like steeplechase where you're 100 feet from the curb. They are right on the road. So I think that added a sense of urgency to it. Just looking, I want to highlight the day after that meeting. We also were doing, we had patrols down there and there was tickets being issued. I hope that becomes part of the regular cycle. I think it just needs to be iterated and learned from. Can you update us real quick? We had some discussion about increased striping, updated painting on the three-way there at the Fair and Rogers. I think that's more in Mike's area.
Yeah, that would be in Mike's area,
Yeah.
but obviously with the new signs installed, there would have to be the new stop lines. And then we also spoke about maybe putting something there, stop ahead or slow, something like that in the roadway. So those are all things we discussed at the meeting. That hopefully we can get done.
Chief, if you wouldn't mind, I actually have an update from Director Dominy on that topic, so I can respond to Councilmember Krenz. He did confirm that they are planning on doing pavement markings and traffic calming measures on Rogers, and then said they will also be, as part of that effort, looking at Wing, River, Beale, and Fairbrook to take a holistic view on areas that have seen a lot of the changes in behavior or traffic patterns that we discussed during the meeting, where those same traffic calming measures may be beneficial. So we'll be getting a report back. The traffic calming measures will likely be next spring. So just from a timing standpoint, it'll be the stop sign now, and then that'll be kind of a phase 2 effort. Yep.
My only thing is just keeping it nice and clean so the drivers know what you expect, like the lines, the signs, that's it. Just,
Again, thank you very much for doing this. And this is the second time in less than 3 months where neighborhoods have used the petition process to look at an issue that they believe is in their neighborhood, where then you can gather the data, make an assessment, meet with them, and talk about solutions depending on what's found out. So twice it's worked. I'm glad. I mean, we've had it in place now for a while. And so thank you to the neighbors for doing it and also for you being very responsive. South Rogers is, well, and it's true for North Rogers, but particularly South, it was designed to be a boulevard. We get major street funding, so there was always an expectation that would carry heavier traffic. I think, certain things would raise that level. But it is very true what Councilmember Friend said, is that on the east side of the road, the houses are much closer. And then you look and how far they're set back on the west side along Rogers, it's because it was a boulevard, but it never got built out. So interesting.
Away, because that was if you came in 7 Mile. 7 Mile didn't go through as you
Right.
came down by the Downs to the late 50s. You came in Northville Road to Main Street to Rogers, down to 7 Mile to go to South Lyon. So that was a major road. Just like from 8 Mile, you came all the way down to Randolph at one time down Baseline Road. That wasn't until the late 50s on the that roundabout or that area over on 8 Mile by the schools that was cut through Taft gravel pits. So people don't realize at one time those.
Well, it
were
was, but it
major
just
roads.
never became, that a boulevard. But it was, but what I was surprised with, one, it was, thank you very much. It was, you put the whole reports in there as well, the complete reports, the two of them, the traffic studies, but speeding was less of a problem than I thought it would be. Cause I thought, now that doesn't mean they're not gunning it
Right,
between areas
Sure.
or something like that. But one speeding car is one too many.
right, and you still get.
Yeah, but it's volume and
Sure.
just carelessness, so. But thank you very much. I hope this is a remedy and I'm sure, hopefully the neighbors will let us know
I just
how
realized
it's working,
but
so.
how quick this is. I'm the chair of the Council of West Wayne. This would take 6 or 8 months, at most municipalities. This is lightning speed within a month I know we've been looking at this, and we're a little bit more flexible. We just don't go under the engineering, looking. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Any other questions up here?
Yeah, I just, from a comment standpoint, I do want to thank the city manager, Chief Masag, Captain Krieger, DPW Director Dominy, and all of the residents who attended last week's meeting. As I mentioned during the discussion, the dynamics on Roger create a challenging environment. You have Katy, Thayer, a long street that doesn't have a stop along Rogers. We've talked already in terms of how houses are located. This is how local government's supposed to work. We had residents concerned. They followed the process. They got 90% of their residents to agree. I can't get 90% of my neighbors to support the Lions on a Sunday. We then proactively had a meeting with the city where we brought everybody together. We talked about the challenges that are being faced and potential solutions. And then the city quickly responded to say, what are the right solutions to be implemented, and started working on getting those back as quickly as possible. So honestly, just really appreciate it. In terms of some of the challenges that were discussed, I see the point in terms of the average speed, but one of the comments that came up is when you have parking on Rogers and the landscaping vehicles, you get burst traffic, so people will accelerate
Well,
quickly to
that's
get
what-
around,
Right.
which causes challenges. We know there's cut through traffic going through Rogers up through Lexington to 8 Mile. We talked about changes in behavior over time. We have school traffic there that's feeding from Our Lady of Victory down there. And a lot of people are using that route to then go back up north and west, which may be the right thing from that community, but does contribute to the challenges. And then the point that will keep coming back, that everyone I think here is aware that that is a very high pedestrian area. And so I think it's the right move. I do appreciate us looking into pavement markings and tracking that as well. And then I know one of the things we committed to from a city perspective is continuing to measure the data. So looking at what are the speeds we're seeing, tickets, traffic, any accident counts, and then doing a follow-up meeting with the residents. So I think if we could schedule that both before the pavement markings, and then we can do another one after that. So we look at these measures and we see how they're working and how effective it is. I think it can make a real difference. Thank you.
So stay right there. Any comments from those in the audience? You can see the way we're going. Come right up, full name and address.
I'm pretty undecided.
Corner of Rogers and Thayer.
Corner of Rogers and Thayer, Gina Cunningham, 212 South Rogers. Thank you for all of those that showed up for the meeting, and I have a loud voice. Thank you so much. It's very much appreciated. I think the one thing that keeps getting missed in this conversation is that my neighbor was out on the front lawn when that car almost hit her house. And that is what has me most troubled. Even today, I'm sitting in my house and I hear a car honk, and he is aggressive and he's upset that the person wants to turn left or thinks that it's a stop sign there at the crosswalk. And then he zooms forward. As we talked about at the meeting, behaviors in people have changed. People are very impatient. They're uptight. And I think this is the right thing to do. When we moved back to Northville, the number of people I see walking is incredible, and the dogs and the families. And it was just so heartwarming to see. So I thank you for thinking about this consideration.
Thank you very much for your comments. Anybody else? Of course.
Hi, everybody. Jennifer Lucart, 521 West Katy Street. So as Gina said, I was outside of my front yard when the accident occurred. I helped the driver out of the car that drove directly at me and ultimately landed right next to my house. This was the second time a car has left the roadway and went into our yard in the last 10 years. And as the chief mentioned in his recommendation, another car left the roadway and drove into our neighbor's house on the northeast corner of Katy and Rogers 2 years ago. Tim and I are very happy with the response from John, Andrew, and the city staff and chief. We appreciated the opportunity to have the 12 neighbors that came to the meeting on a Monday morning. That represented 9 residences, or 1/3 of the homes on South Rogers Street. I mean, that says a lot. This is the first step. We asked for stop signs at both Thayer and Rogers and Katy and Rogers. We have been assured that we will revisit traffic concerns. It's been mentioned here tonight. I would ask that you add crosswalks or some attention to the Katy and Rogers intersection as well. Just because we have lots of library traffic, that's the direct line from downtown. So if you could add that intersection, but we're hopeful. We'd like to mention how much we appreciate our neighbors. Just 3 families didn't sign this petition. 2 houses, we just couldn't ever get anyone at home. And only 1 person actually said, no, thank you. So that says a lot. One other thing I want you to take a look at on that petition is not only the number of signatures, but how many people check the little box to say that they'd like to participate in a future conversation. And a lot of those people who checked the box weren't able to make the meeting on a Monday morning. So just another point. We've asked for more enforcement and we've seen it, especially at 7 and Rogers. I'm going another 5 seconds, where drivers frequently blow through the stop sign. So thank you for the enforcement. Thank you to the chief for his recommendation and for prepping this for council so quickly. We appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thank you, Jennifer. Anybody else from the audience? Closing off the audience during council chambers. Anybody online?
No one on the comment line at this time, Mr. Mayor?
Once, twice. I'm closing it off there. So we do have a motion, do we not, Chief? That was put together. It's in your package. You can see the sample motion. I'm looking for that motion to go forward to.
Mayor, I move to approve traffic order 25-07, making the intersection of South Rogers Street and Thayer Street an always stop intersection.
Support.
So apropos that you two are doing this.
Yes.
Again, we have a motion, properly support. Any other discussion? I think we can do this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Good. You got stop street. It'll happen pretty soon. Thank you for coming. Okay, let's go on to the next one. I think this is Justin, you are up, are you not, regarding street level use and regulation in the central business district? Tell us a little bit about that, Justin.
Good evening. So there's been some discussion at the DDA level in the last couple of months about controlling or managing the first floor uses in a portion of the central business district. And this was actually something that was discussed several times over the years when the former DDA director was here, and the concept just never moved forward. So the idea would be that in certain portions of the central business district, we require a certain type of use at the street level, retail, restaurant, similar uses that are active, draw customers in, engaging pedestrians. Uses like office or showroom would be types of uses that would not be allowed on the street level in that area of the central business district. They could be in the same building, potentially on a second or third floor if there was one, or elsewhere in the central business district, but not in the targeted area. So the initial concept that we were thinking about is Main Street between Hutton and Wing, and then North Center Street between Main and Dunlap. The ordinance, if this were to move ahead, we would work with the DDA, even though that they're not technically a reviewing body for ordinances. We would obviously want to get their input. We went to the Economic Development Committee meeting on September 19th, and they were open to further exploration. And we went to the DDA board on September 23rd, and they made a motion supporting development of an ordinance for them to review. So we had wanted to bring this to council as well to discuss the concept before drafting ordinance language. No existing business would be kicked out if the ordinance were to pass. There is a non-conforming uses ordinance in our current zoning ordinance that would allow existing businesses to exist. We may have to tweak some of the non-conforming language. It's a little bit outdated, but there are provisions there to allow those businesses to continue. And again, the idea is that we need to maintain a healthy business mix downtown. We've seen a proliferation of like mortgage and med spa type businesses. When the city was reviewing the Downs development and had Bob Gibbs from Gibbs Planning Group do a retail analysis of downtown, he warned the city at the time that this type of ordinance may be something that the city want to consider, because as the retail dynamic changes, we could further lose certain types of businesses that do create a vibrant downtown. And so if we have all office or medical on the street level, it's not active, it's not engaging. When places close at 5 o'clock, in the evenings and on the weekends, it's not bringing people in. So again, this is just strictly a concept at this point, looking for your feedback. There's no motion that's required tonight. If you're supportive of further exploration, we'll at the staff level draft an ordinance, take it to the DDA board, the planning commission for a recommendation that would ultimately come back to you.
This came up through economic development, to DDA, that come to us to consideration. And I think it's a great start. We've been talking about this for some time. And again, what's important, your grandfathered. If you have businesses that don't meet that criteria, you can still continue until somebody else is sold. Is that correct?
That's correct.
questions for Justin on this?
I'll go. So Justin, I got a few questions from people before the meeting and like things like a med spa is a service. So that's not something we would say couldn't be on the first.
Yeah, we have to look at it because like personal services, like a salon,
Sure. I mean,
you know, they bring in traffic. And
Mhm.
so there would, you know, have to be some definition to what that type of business would be or
Okay.
not be permitted.
and then just another question, which is not mine, but it's, putting it out there when you're working on this. Why wouldn't this be a recommendation as opposed to a requirement?
So it's hard to get people to comply with encouragement.
Uh-huh.
So zoning really is the ideal way to manage land use. And
Perfect.
again, ordinances can be changed over time. And so I think if we were to pass this ordinance, we would need a year or two to implement it to see what the effects were.
Sure.
It's not something that we would pass and then I think in 6 months really see any realizable change. But after a year or two, after reviewing it, if there's changes, if we need to scrap the concept, we can amend the ordinance. So it's not something that would be set in stone if it's not working.
No major change initially, because everybody's grandfathered in.
Right. So nobody would be kicked out.
Well, at least
Right.
we're still.
And you would contact the building owners and do it that way.
We would communicate with not only the building owners, but the business owners as well.
Perfect. All right.
Excellent. Other questions?
Let's work our way down here on the
Go
table.
right
So,
This way.
this aligns with the master plan from what I can tell in a broad sense about activating the downtown with first floor retail. So I understand that. Couple questions for you. Where else has this been used? Birmingham and Rochester so far. Do we have any anecdotal information from them in terms of the ability to attract retail like this?
So the DDA director and I met with the Birmingham planning director. They took a unique approach several years ago and created a series of overlay districts and placed them over their central business district zoning. They got the effect that they wanted or the result that they wanted, but it was very complicated. So they're actually unwinding it a bit, not to, again, remove the idea or the regulation, but to manage it in a different way. Rochester has done it pretty simply, reviewing their ordinance. So that would probably be an approach to look at or model. And there's other communities in those too, but those are maybe the most comparable. And again, this is not only in Michigan, but all over the country.
Would it be possible, I don't know if they'll give it to you, but provide something like vacancy rates and time to fill storefronts if you're taking a potential number of tenants and reducing them? That might have a non-zero impact on the building owner. I was just wondering, is that information we can get?
We can certainly request that information.
Okay, and then what happens if the storefront can't attract retail? So let's say there's just something, I mean, every one of these storefronts is different. What do we do, or what's the out for that owner if they can't attract somebody in there?
So some ordinances build in a provision that if a tenant space is not occupied in a certain amount of time, that there can be some flexibility to the tenant that's allowed in. Some communities have 6 months, some have up to 18 months. So it's something that we could build into our ordinance based on what works for us.
Okay, almost done here. So what's the mechanism for approving the tenant? Who would do it? So if somebody comes in, let's say like the med spa, like who gets to say, yes, that's compliant, or no, it's not? Is that?
It'd be the community development department,
Community
it'd be a function of staff.
All right, and then does this have any in the CBD area, any impact possibly on parking requirements with, business types? I can't think it does unless you have more restaurants, but is there any parking?
Potentially, again, and it's going to be use dependent too. So if we're attracting more food service or restaurants because we're not allowing office type uses, there is a higher parking requirement. But again, there's two different types of parking credits. There's parking credits that businesses can purchase if they don't meet the parking requirement, but there's also a separate basket of credits that every building is assigned that based on their square footage, they have just built-in parking into our ordinance, even if they don't have it on site.
Yeah, we'll want to make sure that that's all clarified. So I guess where I'm at is I just want to see more information from the stakeholders here. I'm generally in support, but I want to see what building owners DDA, downtown EDC, they all have to say. So, I mean, pursuing it, yeah, let's take a look at it, but I just want to make sure that all stakeholders are aligned. That's it.
Others?
Yeah, I am supportive of this, but I think, as with anything, the devil will be in the details of finding out how we want to tailor this to our town. And I think the lessons learned from other communities going beyond a Birmingham, Rochester, and looking less to overlay districts the complicated way and simple, but even keeping it simple, defining those businesses. You know, what is the type that we think will, by definition, activate space? And also there's hybrid space. So I think of what we currently have just in our own downtown now, 170, the styling salon, the whole front is a shop. And then you walk in the back to go to their desk, you know, to get their many varied services for styling and massage, et cetera. So there's even hybrid. So two different type of offerings in one location. And so encouraging that would be good. And we've seen that over time also at Long's Plumbing, where the front was more, related to bathroom or kitchen items, but in the front. So I don't know what that looks like. I mean, I was at the DDA EDC meeting, but there seems to be concepts and ideas out there. The other is a way that we do want the ones that, the type of businesses that are not activating the street level are wonderful tenants for second floor. Right? So it's just, how does that work? So
Or other
which-
first floor uses outside of this targeted area.
Correct. So, like I said, so in summary, similar to, Councilmember Kranz, I am supportive of it. I think moving through and flushing out the details and how that works for our town will be important. Now, logistically, this is planning and city council. But you mentioned DDA. DDA plays a critical role here, not in forwarding the ordinance change, but I think that dialogue, looking at Kate in the back there, Kate Knight, getting that dialogue with building owners and talking to them about their concerns and ideas that they would have moving forward on this. And so DDA that's our conduit to those discussions because they already have that. And Kate's building that kind of relationship to have that. I also think whenever a first attempt, comes back, with drafts for discussion, it might be early on a good place rather than just that it's, everybody's in their own little world, planning, city council, this is right, rather than talking about it individually, is have a collective meeting to talk initially, not for decision, but for feedback, so that we're talking to each other versus I heard planning said this or DDA board said this. So I think in those early stages, because it's going to be a challenge, I know you're up to it, to write this, and blending it.
Yep.
And
Be
having
flexible.
those lessons learned as that you've already begun to explore that. So in answering questions and concerns, you have, well, here's how that worked there, or it worked or didn't work. So I really appreciate, I think this is worth the effort. And I really look to, at least initially, DDA taking the lead on this. I don't know, that hasn't been discussed, but I think from exploratory standpoint early.
So we did talk, and that's why
Have
I
input.
contacted the DDA first before bringing this to even the planning commissioner council. And we will take any ordinance language to them first,
First, which is
even
right.
before it gets to the.
Because they brought it to you through economic development, through DDA,
Yeah.
to you, and you'll get
But-
input.
We'll go through more of a unique process than a typical zoning amendment.
Yes, but also the step for the DDA board as well is with Kate and whomever, EDC,
Mhm.
having those discussions with building owners to bring them along in that process. So, and I'm not excluding businesses, but the building owners are the ones that lease, right? And so the challenges in that. So I guess people, but so thank you very much.
Appreciate
Look
the work.
forward how this rolls out.
John, anything to add?
Yeah.
Adding cleanup for the.
Always tough to go last, but you highlighted the grandfathering of existing businesses. I think it's really important that we make sure no business feels that by consideration of this, that they are being critiqued or attacked, that they aren't being supported in any way, shape, or form. The Gibbs report, as you noted, was pretty clear in terms of the potential positive impact of increasing pedestrian traffic and creating an ecosystem that allows customers that move from one retail to a restaurant to another retail and creating that overall flow that can benefit everyone. That said, there are questions that will need to be answered and the details are going to matter. And so a couple things that popped out to me. One, how do we typically generate customer visits and pedestrian activity? So I think it's important we have defined metrics. We don't want staff to be basically just doing a thumbs up and thumbs down. So is it based on an estimated number of customers, hours of operation? What is that model that puts some structure around it? So that when a tenant comes in, there's a defined process and discussion, I think is important. Another thing is, how would this be enforced? So I do think that flexibility is going to matter. There may be unique spaces. And so you talked about whether it's if something hasn't been filled for a period of time, is there an exception process where they could come and get an approval? How do you manage those elements? Because well-intended policy, it never accounts for every scenario or situation. And so we'd want to be prepared for that. And then I think feedback is going to be the key. So we've talked about the DDA, we've talked about EDC, the chamber. I think the biggest entity from a conversation standpoint is the business owners and the building owners. So the goal here is, how are we going to drive up overall pedestrian activity that benefits everyone? We're operating under an assumption that by doing that, that is actually going to benefit the entire ecosystem, and therefore it'll have broad-based support. We need to confirm that. And so we should be having conversations with all of those kind of key stakeholders engaged, and just confirming and validating, and then having them be part of that process as we think about how we're managing the exceptions, the enforcement, and ultimately what a business that qualifies as driving customer visits and pedestrian activities truly is.
Great. Good. Watch yourself.
Yeah, I just wanted to say one thing. We've had a lot of discussion internally about this, and there has been a number of businesses, and they're great businesses coming in that are, capitalizing on a really vibrant, great downtown. But we do have to acknowledge, when you do an ordinance like this, there is going to be, for the individual business, the individual building owner, there is a slight reduction or restriction in the range of things that they can rent to. So there is going to be a minor hit for that person. But what you're doing is for the greater good of the downtown. It serves the benefit of the downtown, because if everyone puts in these storefronts that are dark windows at 5 o'clock, then we really shouldn't bother having the DDA schedule these great events Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which brings people into the downtown, and then you have dark storefronts. That is not all of that marketing money where you're bringing people walking up and down your street to dark storefronts will do nothing for, you're just creating a different downtown. So I think there has to be some measure or understanding that you are limiting. There's going to be no situation where this doesn't limit the individual building owners a little bit of their economic ability to make to lease a full range of activities. But the greater good of the downtown, which in the end helps everybody, is certainly going to be the better goal here. And again, think of that marketing on the Friday nights when we have events and concerts, and that vibrance. And of course, you want to be thoughtful about it. But if we wait too long, there could be other stores pop up in their grandfather, and they could be there for the duration of the downtown. Stores could be in place, businesses could be in place for the next 20, 30 years. So anytime a store comes in, it does change the dynamic of the downtown. So just something to think about.
Absolutely. Before I open up to those in the audience, again, you said a lot of the right things. You're going to listen to everybody. You're going to be as flexible as we can. And then the grandfathering will handle some of it in the short term. And this is not a today deal, not 6 months, but this is within the year or so. People will understand that. Again, tell them what you're going to tell them it, and tell them what you told them afterwards. You got to say it a lot. But anybody on council chambers have any input on this? Going once, going twice? Okay, I'm closing it off here. Anybody online that has a hand raiser on this?
You have no callers online at this time, Mr. Mayor?
With hand raisers? Great, good.
You have 30 in the
Yeah, we have 30 out there. So no, when I say that, there's 30 some people out there. There's no hand raisers at this point. So they are there with their vino at home tonight looking at this. So great. Is there, with that?
Thank you.
And you don't need a motion tonight. This is just information for us. Is that correct,
Yep.
Justin? Thank you very much.
We'll
Appreciate
be
it.
back.
Good. So now we will transition to the next level. We are going to number F, approved. No, we are going to DDA, are we not? The Engage City towards self-funded agreement for DDA capital projects. I think you are up, Kate, on that. That is number E. And that is, we have a AAA bond rating. We have $1 once in a while. We might use that to lend DDA money instead of them going out to a bank. And Kate will let us know what's going on from this standpoint.
Thank
So,
you, Mayor. Actually, that was it.
Yep, thank you.
Yep.
Duly noted.
Thank you. This is the first time I've had a chance to present to the city council. So thanks for having the DDA here tonight. I've been here about 6 months and it's been a lot of work and just understanding some of the work that needs to be done in terms of capital projects, all the things that have been identified by previous DDA staff and then council before. We have a capital improvement plan that goes out 5 years ahead. And in that plan and in the DDA budget, there's a line item for debt service, basically. It's more than $200,000 a year. And it's best maximized by application toward a bond, for example, or a larger project. So we do a wide range of things at the DDA and in partnership with the city, that's how we're able to maximize our smaller budget, which must be spent for the betterment physically of this district. So in working with Grissim, Metz, Andriese, the DDA has contracted with them to take some just inventory and analysis of current conditions in the district. They've recommended some maintenance and upgrades for our premier public plaza, and that's Town Square. It's more than 20 years old. It really was, bar raising when it was built, designed and built. A street was removed, parking was removed. I remember I was a new resident at that time, more than 20 years ago, with tiny kids. And I remember an 85-year-old lady at a public meeting who was really angry about the gazebo being moved. She was really mad. But look what we have right now. The town square is incredible. What we have today is what we envisioned 20 years ago. And that includes renderings that show that west elevation where 160 is, with the vines and the lights and the outdoor dining. That was an illustration at that point. So we know with some COGS data, Place for AI data, we've hosted more than 485,000 visitors to Town Square this last year. That's a lot. So it's a lot of wear and tear. It's a beloved space and we have a huge volume of traffic. This is a problem we want to have. So you have noticed in the past few months under consent agenda, a whole slate of custodial services that the DDA has been bringing forward. We've been, treating our trees. We've been trimming canopies, elevating, thinning, unwrapping, relighting lights, making design recommendations to evaluate our structures that really need a lot of work. You've seen work coming forward to refurbish the band shell. Lighting, tuck pointing, cleaning, hardscape, plantscape, rebuilding the fountain. So those are the things that we're working on right now this very year. And we're using our fund balance at the DDA, which has built up for this purpose. You can't let it build up too far. You have to say what you're going to spend it on and then execute that. And so we've been very active all year long up until this point. We've approved work that is in motion and has paused during a very vibrant October. Another thing we do is host a lot of cultural programming. That's concerts, that's Skeletons Are Alive, and we'll touch a little bit on that. And it's all worth doing, and it's a huge attraction. It differentiates our downtown district and our community. And we're here to talk about ways we can work together with the city to achieve more and not waste any time or money in doing that. So in identifying crucial projects, crucial infrastructural investments, we're looking not only at our historic downtown and Town Square, but the connection, we were calling it Katy Connection for the purpose of this conversation and identifying projects. We have another large town plan coming, right? The Downs is a huge impact on our existing historic downtown. So it's a big challenge that the DDA takes very seriously, and there's urgency behind making sure we have a really strong physical, cultural, wayfinding connection between those two districts. We're spending a lot of public infrastructure funds to create really beautiful space that really is to facilitate a seamless integration. we'll figure this out, over the next 100 years. But right now, it's coming. And we have some illustrations to show tonight and some of the capital projects that we've identified with the help of our partners in Grissim, Metz. We are looking at best options, and the city has a recent AAA bond rating. And the DDA would love to partner with the city. You can get a great rate. And I appreciate the work that city staff has put into identifying some of the funding mechanisms and costs associated with that, bonding versus self-funding. I would say that, as it turns out, the DDA is in the city of Northville. So it's a great deal when we can maximize and save costs. What we would be saving in a partnership together, we've identified, is probably an entire construction cycle. It does take time to go out and identify a bond, go to market, all of that. I think we identified more than $55,000 in fees with that. You know how many skeletons we could buy with that? A lot. So, and we want to get at it. We don't want to miss any time on this. So we are moving very efficiently and quickly toward identifying some things that we know are heavy wear and tear. And we want to minimize our downtime on this. So we're identifying projects that we would begin with next construction cycle in 26 and then 27 and 28. We're also looking at all of our options on funding. In your consent agenda, you noticed that there was an application for services to go after a TAP grant. So we were just presented with an opportunity through STEMCOG. It's a bucket that's identified with a very, very short lead time. We're ready to pursue it right now with some help in engineering because we're doing these design development documents on this work with the Katy connection. So we have that work. That's the only way we'd be poised and ready to.
And they need shovel-ready projects like that.
We are
now
so
within
shovel-ready.
weeks.
Yes. So, if we were to get that would be a huge, crucial boost to what we'd be asking the city to partner on. And we think that this is strategic. There's a little bit of flexibility on it. We're understanding our design and engineering costs right now as we're figuring out how to fund it. Again, we don't want to waste any time. I feel urgency toward maintaining our historic downtown. So we're ready to accommodate the connection with this new town that's coming with the Downs. So it's a great opportunity. And we'd like to ask you to consider just engaging the conversation. We'd set it all up internally, working with Sandy, George, our DDA leadership and city administration to figure this out.
Great. And you'll show us any of those things
Yes, yeah.
eventually after
We've got
this.
a recommendation and we've got a deck to go through if you want to take a look at what we're talking about.
I can quickly
Go right
mention
ahead.
that
Yep.
When Kate was talking about the number of projects she identified that needed to be done in the near term, things that are exciting, but also things that are very necessary, some wear and tear. And I had thought about it and thought that the city had been purposely building up general funds to be able to maintain more flexibility and to be able to initiate some projects. And I thought this was a great place to recommend to council that this happened because of the time span. The bonding process will slow down the construction process, the referendum period and all that. Also, it's not a very large amount of money to go out for a bond for the hassle of it. But in terms of issuance costs, it's just much more efficient. You'll get more money to projects rather than spending more money on issuance cost and financial consultant and bond counsel. So we thought it was a good use of funds to propose it. And of course, this is the council's discussion where this is not the decision. But if you launch in this way and pass the motion, we will prepare the documents that would essentially have a loan between the DDA and the city.
Right.
It would be at a very reasonable interest rate, less than they would have to pay if they went out to the
And on a
market.
timely basis.
Yeah. And we think that helps everybody. And obviously the city would have skin in the game.
Yes.
We lose a little bit of flexibility, but we certainly think it's worth it in terms of getting these projects done and letting them get to work quickly. So.
Yeah, I think this interfund loan agreement is the way to go. It doesn't make, we're comfortable, the city manager's comfortable that we can do that. It makes sense for us. And why spend those monies on fees, when it's outside? I mean, it's still a lot of money, but compared to building a parking deck, which was the other four, it's
You can actually
not.
build something for another
So,
$50,000.
just one, and I look forward to seeing this, but when I look through the total, I'm just talking like 800,000 and then there's a 700,000. Most of what's in the 800,000 has been on the priorities list for at least 5 to 6 years, some extending beyond that. So these are they've been deferred, delayed. So this isn't like, oh, we need to do this. These things really need to get done, particularly, the problems in the street area where the brick is. And needs to be repairs on the island. I mean, there's modifications in how we're going to approach it, but these are things that we've needed to do for a long time.
Correct.
The Katy Street connection and streetscape, I can't wait to see what's up there because really the concepts are marvelous and how that's really going to connect the two. And for the second time tonight, the Gibbs report talked about how critical that is. And really that's our only place, between where Los Tres Amigos is and our existing parking deck, that how do we make that inviting and draw people? And so that's been known, but we never had a dollar number or concept. How do we accomplish that? I know there's some things also for Hutton, coming up from there that will be worked on, but that's less than what this is going to require. So I look forward to everybody else seeing the pictures as well.
Absolutely.
But
Appreciate your flexibility.
Yeah.
You've come in, Jim has come in, others. We are working together, and Parks and Recreation back there with their 750 acres of green space all around Northville. It is quite something wrapped around in some of the entities that will be in the DDA or around town that they'll take some control of with our support in the whole bit too. So it's a fantastic time to look at the future, and you're part of that, and Jim's part of that. And I thank you for that. I'm enthused. We've been talking about everybody's working off the same song sheet, and you're doing that. So now you're going to really tell us
Thank
how we should be excited and show us all those
All
pictures.
right, let's go. All right, Ken, that's a great line. A great lead on. So this is a plan view of Town Square. You can recognize it. And in the yellow shapes are highlighted some of the features we're going to be taking a look at. Next slide.
Keep rolling.
So this is actually happening today. We were talking about trying to thread the needle between our October programming and some of this maintenance work at Town Square. It's been a very busy fall. We had our pre-construction meeting on October 1st. And we ran down and there were probably 25 people just in the square in the middle of the day. It was a Wednesday afternoon and all of our trades were there and we thought, we're going to have to see what we can do right now. And we've been strategizing on how to get as much done as we can. We took a little pause in October because the volume of visitors was, it was tremendous. But you may or may not have noticed that we did demo the plantscape despite the programming. And so that was a stealthy removal of all of our aged boxwood. It's been a good long run. We'll put new plantscape in the spring. And then this shows our proposed change out, and that's happening today. So as promised, 1st of November, first Monday, we had a crew out with masonry saws and they're cutting radial block here and outfitting the wear and tear on our Brussels cap with these raised planters. These are still structurally fine. And we've removed some soil, treated some of our trees and destroyed some of our irrigation in the process of doing that.
Great.
But we'll figure it all out. We'll put it all back together. So we unwrapped all the lights, we trimmed everything up, treated it, rewrapped them, amended the soil. And what we don't have illustrated here, but actually in the bottom right, we're having a new GFI infrastructure put in. So
Good.
you can imagine the improvements over 20 years, the wear and tear. So we really are looking forward to having better electrical infrastructure there. We'll paint on site. You can see that custom fence that we designed almost 25 years ago with Grissim, Metz, still very, very beautiful and iconic. It's become part of our downtown, iconography. Certainly we won't want to redesign what's become a classic in 25 years, but our approved contractor will come in and solder, repair, sand, and recoat that beautiful fence in place. And he can do that up to 20 degrees. So we'll keep working as long as we're able to work. So today, if you looked, they're busting out, as they call it, the top rings. So we can retain those those raised beds. What you're seeing is what it will look like on the left with new plants, a dark charcoal powder coat finish, and a new top accent will save the cost of the entire raised bed. They work really well. New electrical and a fresh accent of charcoal. We're also pulling off the steps in front of the band shell, re-gluing them, cleaning them, and securing them. So that part's not very glamorous, but it's very necessary.
Yes.
Next slide.
You hearing that, Kenny?
It's not me.
So we've been working hard on this band shell, and this is just one page. We had 3 or 4 pages. We've been working through this too, just conceptually with Historic District Commission. So HDC has given a couple of preliminary reviews, and we've had conversations with them. And then we did talk to them a few weeks ago on Wednesday night and shared some of these concepts. So this will probably be a direct sole source fabricator. The original design in the bottom left there is again, it's iconic here in Northville. It's an original David Peter Hans design. It's structurally still pretty darn good. Needs to be refurbished, recoated. A lot of the infrastructure needs to be repaired. We have interest on DDA leadership and having a glass system that doesn't allow performing musicians to be electrocuted during rain.
It's not a good thing.
That's been the effect since day one. It's been very beautiful, but the functional piece is something that we have time to come back and address now. So we'll do that structural assessment. That's all in the works. And we know we're considering lots of things. You can see in that picture, and if you go down to look at Town Square right now, a lot of that beautiful art glass is delaminated, and we actually have shattered panels. So we're looking at maintaining what we have, but really improving. Had lighting there in years and sound. So we'll take that electrical package. We're going to arrange, so get this, when we're doing a sound check, you don't have to run down into the basement of the parking garage and then text somebody or yell up into Town Square about sound. So, I mean, you can imagine. Okay, next.
I know you're on it, Kenny.
Yeah, I can.
The opportunity.
New
There's no
city
problem. It's
Wi-Fi part of
opportunities.
the package.
So tell us what we're gonna be looking at
Yes.
next while it catches up to you.
We slipped that in.
All right, here we go. So
Slide that on
this-
page 80.
So the fountain is very exciting. A lot of wear and tear on this beloved downtown feature. If you take a look at our fountain as it is right now, top right here, the interior lining of that fountain is really, it's like a pool that was built, long ago. We see so much community engagement. People love this fountain. If you come down for Tunes on Tuesday, we've got dogs in the fountain. We've got kids in the fountain. I've never seen anything like it. So as a result of that, we have to clean it every 2 weeks. We're taking coins out of it. We're taking dog hair out of it. It's tough on the mechanism. We've got pumps that are, backed up. It's tough on our seals and finishes. So, we've gotten a lot of wear out of it in 20 years. As it turns out, we didn't use limestone imported from Italy. We're just using our basic, masonry and the materials that we've already run through Historic District Commission. So we're having that conversation with them too. It's the same scale. It's the same massing, same footprint that's cut into the square. We believe this is we're working on right now with Grissim Metz, designing it and having construction documents ready to go. So we can get at this probably in March, right in the spring. There's nothing here that would be too weather dependent. Now in this, you'll notice that the tiered system that's proposed under our existing resin bowl, that's still a really beautiful, successful design. We get such incredible feedback and engagement with the public with the plant material that we install seasonally. We go to a lot of expense at the DDA to really change out gorgeous, colorful plants. They're beautiful. And when we have kids climb on it and rip them out and throw them into the fountain, we just move on. We replant them, we clean the fountain. So this will, you won't be able to get your Newfoundland dog into this. But you can still engage
okay.
it. You can touch it. You can hear the water. You can see the rippling effect. That's part of the sensory experience, is hearing the sound of the movement of the water. So we're very aware of that design feature at Town Square and how strongly the public feels about this. On either side, we'll still have those seasonal bowls of planting, and we won't have that cavity of pool. So we'll do plant material or something that enables people to engage with it, sit around it, meet at the fountain, enjoy it. But we think this will be a lot easier for maintenance. We've talked to Parks and Rec, we've talked to DPW, and we've talked to our landscape architects. And this is a design that we think honors our historic downtown and is an improvement in maintenance going forward. Okay, next slide. This is an exciting feature. You know, many of our residents don't know that this was always designed to have fire in off season. And so in recent years, there's been kind of an aftermarket effort to fire up the two cavities that are created in the pool. So that's not ideal, you know, sitting and swinging your legs into, you know, toward a propane heater is just, we could probably do better, and we will with this improvement. So what this does is lift up the two resin bowls. This is a completely different installation. So the seasonal bowls for summer plantings in spring and fall will be lifted out. And in that place, it's probably a 2 or 3 man lift to get this new resin bowl with a fire element in it and then secure it. All of our infrastructure is already there. We already have a gas line. We've already got, you know, water, all of it. So this rebuild is really taking advantage of some of the infrastructure we have in place. We're going to maximize it. Fire in public place is great. The public loves it. I've had recent experience in designing it, and people want it to work and they really engage with it. So this lifts up that fire element, and it's kind of a beacon. So whether you're driving through town, walking around downtown, you're going to be able to see those fire elements and come join your neighbors and probably have a social district beverage or a coffee.
Sure.
So these are different ideas that we're working through right now. The second feature with the glass ring, I've actually worked with that in public space recently. And again, it's cool to the touch, and the public is very, it typically shows great stewardship in getting these things to work. To the right, you can see the images on the top right too. I'm going to advocate against the Mustang leaving the burning barn cutout, but it's Northville, so we thought we'd add that. We'll have an opportunity to do some custom design work. And I think the design all the way to the right is most likely where we would head. So it's a design element. There's a little bit of a shield against the flame. It's cool to the touch, but it's really beautiful and enhances the seasonal experience here in Northville and downtown. Yes. So this brings us to, we had all of this inventory and analysis done with Grissim, Metz, and we know that clock tower island is falling apart. So there's a lot of human engagement on it. People sit on it, climb on it. We install skeletons on it. The retaining wall in what we commonly call the canoe, affectionately call the canoe, has had it. So we need to really rebuild it. The middle image is what we could envision with a stacked curbing system, which Grissim Metz is known for. Elevates your plant material up out of salt, heat, snow, and public interaction. But if we're doing this, the way we've looked at this and identifying capital projects, we would wrap it into the repair of that entire section of Main Street. Okay. No pressure. Yeah. Yeah. So this is what the plan view looks like. And the idea that we're coming up with here is an extension of like a speed table. It's a tabletop plaza extension from Town Square. So it takes that existing very beautiful crisscross, now iconic design that we've really become associated with in the downtown, and it keeps it at grade. And what that means is that if you're looking at this in plan view, in you can see what looks like a green eye, that's the clock tower with the clock in the center. We're still looking at all the pieces that we have in Town Square. The experience is that as you're rolling into Main Street, you wouldn't step down on the curb, you would just keep going across the street. And so it accomplishes a couple of things. There's a continuity of design. We have some maintenance issues we've got to repair. We can all look down there and see in the bottom lower corner there on the right, it's a pitting and failure and just a lot of wear and tear on that charcoal concrete, that poured concrete. So in 20 years, there's been a lot of advancement. It's a different product that we'd use right now. We're not looking to reinvent the entire thing, but we're looking to lift it up on a concrete table that would keep it at grade, extend it north. On the north side of Main Street there, we have our historic Marquee Theater and a row of storefronts. So it's the same plaza. We'd put a protective element on the other side, some bollards or something. It's the same width. And one really nice feature of this designed, tabletop feature is that if you look at the pedestrian crosswalks on either side and the east-west ends of that canoe, it really differentiates that. So it's a safety element. You roll up on it to this speed table. So that tabletop plaza, it's another sign to calm traffic. So it slows down. There's no impediment to traffic. It's the same width. It's the same road standard. But we're asking you to slow down, preferably before you hit that crosswalk. So it's just another visual cue, and it's an experience crossing that it's a recommendation for best practices that we pay better attention and sign and elevate those pedestrian crosswalks.
Oh, right.
I actually took the same slide to HDC and I told them it was disco lighting and they were fine. They said, sure, let's do it. This is the lighting package. This is really cool. We haven't had functional lighting like this that really enhances our cultural program. That means our bands, all of that. We have 2 large black poles at Town Square. Not a lot coming off of those. So when we're talking about sound and we're talking about LED gobo lights, we did test drive this 2 weeks ago, I think. We had a design committee meeting. So in addition to HDC, we invited them back out to take a look at how these elements fit into our historic design. It is imperative, we feel as a DDA, to continue to set the bar on public space. So when this was designed 20 years ago, it was I'd say revolutionary in Michigan Southeast downtowns, but it's time to set that bar again. This is how we do it. We're keeping a lot of the guts of that infrastructure, but lighting is a way to really differentiate. If you look at the fixture in the top right, that's one of the fixtures we're proposing. Those are installed right now in Town Square, and we had a lighting installed. They're on the photocell that is running all of our Tivoli lights. If you go down right now, you can get a feel for what these finishes look like. This is a proposed coating of bronze, black bronze on the outside, and then the interior is a powder coat of like a terracotta bronze. So it's complementary of all of our historic materials and architecture and pavers. But this is a very, very sophisticated lighting project. It casts the light down. So we have a lot of glare and uplighting right now. You know, we're talking about using these for the next 25 to 50 years. We'll see more advancement in light. But right now we're looking at a sustainable approach as we're looking at rooftop uses, right? We're looking at maximizing our second floor residential inventory, and to have this fixture shining down and kind of sprinkling a celestial type light, it's a very cool thing. We can reposition these. We're calling it like ambient task lighting in public space. I've seen these in Europe. They're in Seaport, Boston. We're proposing that we bring them into Northville. It's soft. It's really a really fun and innovative lighting system. And it would be very similar in feel to the canopy that we have currently on our high tensile steel installation. So the way this works is that this would be on its own system, stretched. We'll have a structural engineer look at it. We're doing a lumen calculation to understand how much light we need in public space to be safe, because we're not casting it up, we're sprinkling it down. So it's a whole different formula for that. It's a very different and exciting conversation about making town square welcoming and setting that design bar again. We can reconfigure these and clamp them onto that electrical system, and it's self-healing. So we can essentially cluster them as a chandelier. We're going to put our 17-foot holiday tree up, and before you know it, we could potentially reconfigure these to do a little task chandelier over Santa's house, or choral singers or something like that. It's extremely flexible and very cool. The color is something that we also did a test drive on. And I would say that those two slides with the ginkgo leaves sprinkled on the ground and the color are things that we foreshadowed, we experimented with Gasser Bush, premier lighting designer in Southeast Michigan and nationally. The rep lives in Cabbagetown. He ran home to get a part when we were meeting in the rain. And then we had CJ Thompson rig this fixture up a couple days later so we could get people down there and take a look at it. The lighting and the patterning is exquisite. It really drew a gasp from the crowd. And so we had the design committee weigh in. We've got all kinds of perspectives on that. And we shot some patterning up on the side of the wall where 160 Main is. Really beautiful, really elegant and place defining. And I think we're worth it. This is the second piece of capital projects we're looking at. This is the Katy Street parking and pedestrian connection. So when we were taking a look at all of this as a design focus, we know that this block is the subject of, future consideration. How do we treat this to make, to maximize our downtown environment in the next, 10, 20, 50 years? This is part of the evaluation. We've talked with these property owners. We're designing and having this conversation with them, not necessarily about them. Eventually, we'll take a look at this as a sub area within a downtown master plan and a city master plan that's coming up in 2027. So for the purpose of this exercise, we're looking at that pedestrian connection, which is our existing stairway. And you'll see that all the way to the left. And Ken, whenever you're ready. So this is what it looks like. This is your experience as you're looking up toward historic downtown from Katy Street. On the left is current condition, and on the right is what we're proposing. So if you look closely, you can see that there's a raised crosswalk there too. And we'd be looking at, we've got further design development on this. It's not as paver intensive as this is rendered, but it's the illustration in this is really important to see how it feels. I mean, this is coming in the next 24 months that we're going to have this connection live. So you'll see the defined pedestrian crosswalk. These are all eligible within that TAP grant that we're going after. That would be extremely helpful. So imagine those people up in the rendering up at the top. That's Mary Alexander up there. So we're looking at how do we identify this connection and how do we steer people through in a way that makes it obvious, safe, accessible. And we actually have an elevator chase. This is the only accessible connection. There's a huge grade change between our historic downtown and Katy Street. And this is our chance to really focus on it and treat it well. Okay. We have a lot of renderings that show this connection. And I think it's a really powerful illustration of what is coming in months. So on the left, this is what we have right now. On the right, that massing, that illustration of that building on Katy Street, that's real. And that'll be here end of 26, right? I mean, it's coming.
Correct.
So this is, I'm feeling urgency that we need to invest in this and define and make this a really strong, connective experience for Northville. So these are some elements that we would look at. So, large planters and softening that experience in this hardscape. You can see in the top left, we're looking at an application which could be, public art. On the right, rendered in the large illustration, those are perforated metal screens. So that's an opportunity to soften the cars on the other side, maybe soften the headlight glare, and we could activate it with lights. So you can see some of the design precedents on the left that were pulled. Those are examples with lighting and art and perforated screening and materials, how we can really improve that connection. Next, Cam. This is another angle. This is really interesting. You can see the crane in the distance over there on the left. We've had a conversation with the property owner just on the edge. We have a lot of work to do with easements. It could be that we're encroaching or partnering with that private property owner by 6 inches or, 7 feet. But in spirit, we asked, are you amenable to working with us? And they said, absolutely. So we'll figure that out as we proceed forward. But we know that we have a certain width of right of way here. And that plant material seating option here and some beautiful lighting and materials will make a significant difference. Again, on the right, you can see that building. That's what it's going to feel like very soon. And this is a view up our stairs. And so we have a lot of design precedents and ways that we're thinking about this. The existing building on your right is, that's the side of Los Tres Amigos. You can see that turret there, the stairs that are there. We've rendered it without the handrail in the center, but I think we've identified we do actually need something there. But we could do much better on the wall there. We could treat it with plants, lighting, public art, something crazy. It could be a lot of different things, but the experience would be connective and inclusive and better for Northville. Okay. All right. I love this graphic because this is another design problem that we're going to try and attack through this TAP grant application. And if not, there are other applications. This is a really, really important investment for us to make as a community. The pedestrian connection, if you look at the right-hand illustration, the red dotted line, that's your experience. If you were in a wheelchair or a stroller, or you're just looking for a reason or a way to not climb those stairs, your only accessible way is to go into the parking deck, behind parked cars. A lot of people who live in Northville don't know that that's actually the access point, that we have an elevator here. So you're walking to the elevator, you're probably getting a couple calcium chloride drips on your head, water, It's not the safest thing. It's not the most enjoyable experience. So what we're proposing is the experience on this new defined and improved path. You can see the light green dots. That user is going to go all the way up as if going into downtown up those steps. But we're proposing that we perforate the parking deck and create an accessible sheltered entrance that leads you right to the elevator. So if you look at the right, that's where it would line up. So if you see, we'd lose 2 parking spaces there. And the ramp that we propose, that's where you bring your wheelchair, your stroller, your scooter, or however you are able to make it down that ADA accessible ramp. And then we would look at investing in some bike infrastructure in those parking spots. And that's something that we know would be supported by that TAP grant. We have a huge cycling culture. This would be covered cycle parking.
And we have a pathway system bringing a lot of bikers to town, north and south.
So we're a major trailhead and we're investing in that. And we know we have people who bike in from Dearborn on the weekend. So this is well worth it, and we'll pursue it as part of this connection, and certainly we'll have other opportunities to grant toward it in the future.
Kate, one thing on all of these renderings that include the existing parking deck, to show how that will change. It's in white. There is no plan to change it from the original brick.
Right.
That's just the way Grissim Metz drew it,
Right.
correct? So
Yeah, good point. Thank you. We're cheap. We don't pay them to render each brick. But it does help mass it out and helps to, define.
No, but I meant the color of white.
As
is not
illustrated.
Any indication that
It is what it is today with the brick.
Indeed.
it's not being painted.
Right.
It is not being painted. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yep.
So this is another piece of our analysis and inventory with Grissim Metz. We asked them to look at Katy Street parking and streetscape. We have the surface lot condition, and we looked at it as a best case scenario with a surface lot with some improvements. The reality is that the way this is laid out, it's private, public, private, and again, we're talking about this is a schematic scenario. What we would like to do, and what we're proposing as part of this TAP grant application and in funding this with the city intergovernmental loan agreement, is treating that south edge. So improving the sidewalk and really screening it. We're inviting 20,000 square feet of commercial real estate to locate here on Katy Street. And the view across the street is a dirt lot or a broken up surface lot. Welcome. So, it impacts our ability to attract business, to retain business, and to bring it all together. What we want here is just even a screening of that surface lot. And so we would be looking at in the right of way, trees, fencing, and a safe sidewalk. We'd coordinate this with the eventual replacement of Katy Street, which is happening in the near future, but we'd be strategic about planning this in coordination with that. So it fits into that short run 5-year plan. Ken? This is a little more detailed. You can see some precedents here describing, or showing what we would do with the fence and the pedestrian experience. I mean, this is a pretty huge impact for a minimal investment, but we're going to tie it all in because we can see it happening. The foot traffic is tremendous there, but this is the connective glue between the Downs and our historic downtown. Ben? Yeah. That's a wild garlic on the left. It's tougher than nails. You'll love it. Beautiful.
Wasting a minute or two.
Salt resistant. It's one of our preferred specs. It's
Get in there, Ken.
Good level of detail.
Thank you.
Is this the last slide? Is this the last slide?
Okay. And I have but wait, there's more, actually. So if you want to let me know how you'd like to proceed, there is a motion or a recommendation, and I don't want to skip.
We have
any
water.
of them for questions.
water. You like go into the other, the skeleton sign?
I would.
Let's do that
wanna just-
quickly and then.
Okay, and then
Yep.
come back to the recommendation?
Yep,
All
that's
right,
correct.
I see.
Let's roll through it.
Thank you.
Something's in there.
So attached to the same agenda item is the impact report for our recent Skeletons Are Alive event. And it's been 14 years of really successful programming, but it's really amplified in the last 2 years. So it's okay. It's all right. I can take it. This is a great slide to be stuck on, and we can talk about some of the benefits of this event. You know, we don't have events just to have them. And while we don't budget to do anything but break even, it's nice when they can support themselves. And so we have some analytics from this event that we thought it would be really valuable to share. And this is a beloved cultural program. And we want to share some imagery.
And that gentleman works down at the Downs development.
Yeah, that's a great story.
I see him all the time.
Yeah. So this year we invested in professional photography. So we worked with local photographer Carrie Atkins from Stackwood Studio, and we've asked her to capture photography at all of our events. So starting with the entire summer concerts, concert series, we have beautiful photos that are downtown specific. They're of the people, places, businesses downtown. So our DDA policy is no more stock photography. You'll see this in everything we do. We have a beautiful slate of photography. This is actually what's browning the lights at City Hall right now, is this high resolution photography.
Getting your trying
It's
to
worth
get through
it.
those pictures.
We're in motion. We've got some momentum.
So just scroll through these.
Yes, please. Give me the first one is. Let's see.
You can move past that one if you need to.
The two right here.
That's my joke about the low bar for costume judging.
Mhm.
Oh.
Keep that.
Good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a lot of positive things.
No, this is like showing
Okay.
in reverse.
In that case,
We can scroll in reverse.
I
I'm
embrace it.
comfortable either way. Whatever. Do you think? What do you think?
Just scroll through.
I would love to. This is actually fully reverse.
It's in reverse.
Exactly that.
Oh. I'm scrolling down.
Oh, there we go. Oh, there's the data.
It didn't load.
The DDA is
Good.
flexible. We're
Yeah,
good.
there you go.
Start from you can start from the end. You can start from the beginning.
Push
We're
right
just,
through.
we're gonna roll with it.
agile and adapt.
That's right. We adapt. We adapt. So Skeletons Are Alive. Look at this. This is our 2025 report. 40 banners, 250 posters, 3,000 postcards, 72 tables, and so on and so on. 100 plus spiders, 200 pumpkins, 200 skeletons, lots of community partners. Our peak day, the launch, we clocked more than 20,000 visitors. So we'll show you the graph that helped us establish that. But this is a statement about teamwork, DPW, our fire department, our police department, NCBA, that's our Merchants Association, our city staff, DDA, teamwork, and this is our signature October event. We rebranded it this year. So 14th year in, we did a complete scrape of graphics and branding. And I want to take this opportunity to credit Stacy Pearson on our DDA team. She killed it. And this is a lot of hard work. So thank you, Stacy.
Thanks a lot.
All right, she knows this story. She's heard this one before. Okay, Ken, next. So this bar chart is Placer AI. So these are pings. I mean, that's an unofficial word, but what this shows is from midnight on Saturday to midnight on Sunday. Now, keep in mind, that doesn't include kids. And I think 1,000 of these pings are Stacy Pearson because she was here a lot. So how this works is if you were here for 8 hours, if you were here at 10 a.m., it picked up your smartphone. And if you were, it picked up your smartphone. But what it shows us is that the peak volume of this event, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, we had more than 8,000 people in this district.
I was amazed. People are still coming at
Yeah.
8 and 8:30. Usually Northville shuts down about 9 o'clock. We roll up our sidewalks. It went all the way to 10 o'clock and it just kind of and that's what it shows there. Kids were coming,
Yeah.
younger folks at 8, 9 o'clock. It was great to see that constant motion coming into town.
It was a lot of logistics, and this correlated with a lot of what our merchants were telling us that they had records. So I know we had a couple of eateries set records. There was a correlation between this at the cash wrap and cash credit card receipts, and then also being open. So those who were open. We had great examples of businesses, newer businesses to town, who made decisions in this event to stay open later. Kilo & Co. Killed it. They ran an event at this exact same time, and they brought people in who were there for both reasons. They kept their doors open 8:30, 9 o'clock, kept stocking shelves, made a decision on the spot to take advantage
The
of
bakery right at 10, they were still
Canal,
up going.
line out the door at 8:39 into the evening. So it's, we had so many people in town. If you were able to take advantage of it or you staffed toward it, there was a correlation with that. Okay. So here are some insights. We were just saying it felt like a 30% increase, and certainly the data showed that. Peak volume at 8,000 visitors. Most visitors traveled 10 to 30 miles from their home to get here. So we'll take that, right? I mean, we know that this is a great downtown. We know this is a great community. This is a reason to invite everyone in and to have them explore and discover us. I sat outside for a minute with my family at Del Norte. I can't tell you how many times my kid visiting, returning home said, if I hear one more person say, oh, is this the new Mexican restaurant? I mean, it was amazing. People were really all about it. So great experience. Merchants loved it. This is the reason why we would have this kind of event. People stayed longer. So we ran 3 concurrent events. This is by far the most boring slide, so I'm going to make it snappy.
Good.
It's an entire month-long program, so a lot goes into that. Within that, we had our launch party, and that was a lot going into that day. Certainly worth all the work that went into that. And then we activated this special event permit had closed weekends. We closed Main Street between the bollards on Center Street and Hutton. And then we furnished it. We brought in heaters and warming stations. We had live music on each end. We had live music at the bollards, both on Friday and Saturday evenings, and people came. It was really, it was worth doing. We had really positive feedback. Today we recapped with our merchants. We had a 2-hour restaurant meeting just to understand what worked, what didn't work, what would you change, and what would this look like if we had to, adapt to this and make the most and making a vibrant district with conditions that we have right now. Okay, next. I won't make you read all this, but all of this, record-breaking event attendance, downtown businesses reported strong foot traffic, highest sales to date in 2025 for this launch party. Very exciting. We also mixed up the cultural programming. We had Ballet del Folklorico come in from Southwest Detroit. They're nationally renowned, and they were beautiful. They killed it. So we had artists engaged with the public and a lot of really excellent elements. So full credit to Stacy again on our DDA team. Next. Great spread in the Ville. Hope everyone got a chance to read it. Next. Look at this photography. They were
A
awesome.
lot of color.
Yeah, a lot of color. Next. The Detroit Circus, pretty awesome. I mean, look at this imagery. It's just this beautiful downtown. And the skeleton costumed aerialist soared above the heart of Northville. So it was really great. I think it's worth mentioning on this platform that 72 hours before that, on the site of that aerialist, we had an emergency sewer collapse.
And we did.
And if you look under that, if all those people step by, there is a seamless repair that our DPW handled. And they brought in a contractor, D'Angelo's. I don't know how you got them off another job right now.
Just takes bread.
It was incredible. Major feat, major kudos to our DPW team. And look at this. We were ready to welcome all of these people. Next. More incredible imagery. We had professional witches from the tipping point downtown. We had Ghostbusters. We had flamethrowers. We had the mayor. We had.
I took off that shirt and I had the skeletons are alive and I had it underneath. He was pretty scary. That's
It was great.
Didn't know what I was taking off.
But this imagery is great. I will tell you that we got this deck a couple days later and we used it in social media immediately. Our downtown social media platforms have engaged more than 500,000 people in the last 30 days. So another reason for doing it. Next. This is a great project. So Ivy is one of the artists. He's actually part of the OHM team and he's working with Broder Saxe and Hunter Press Tour on the Downs. So he started talking with our building official. It came up to the DDA. Of course, Stacy pulled him right in. He came out with his 5 kids and live painted as part of our engagement, as part of this program. It was incredible. This very painting is painted by his kids and a lot of other kids. So we have pictures of the public painting with Ivy Riley. I'm going to scoop forward into another merch picture here, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this. We had 3 or 4 artists painting live. So we're trying to elevate the cultural program, movement, art, music. I mean, this imagery, that crowd in the background, it was phenomenal. And this is, it elevated the experience of coming downtown. It was a little different. And again, it ties into our fresh branding of Skeletons Are Alive. Next.
Yeah, that's a punchline.
I mean, you saw this. This was awesome. It was a great hit. We used as prizes for this our new downtown gift card. And the winners, guess what? They've already redeemed them. So this is where I fit in the plug for our downtown Northville gift card. Now's the time to consider it. Here's our annual Skeletons Are Alive closure. It was a beautiful, beautiful program. We took out the picture of the skeleton tees merch in all the banners. So we had dozens of new banners. You can see they're visible hanging on the street poles. It was just a different feel for the event all month long. We sold merch. So we sold t-shirts through Northville Gear. She really made it incredible. So proceeds from that, we're saying we're going to go right back into public art. So we made, probably $2,500 to $4,000. That's where our receipts are. Not a lot, but we're going to spend it immediately. We're going to buy that community painting that Ivy Riley painted on site, and it's going to be our first DDA public art acquisition as a result of fundraising for it. So we're dedicating funds and we're showing the public that we're going to reinvest immediately with that kind of public art. It's awesome. We'll get it back out next October and we'll hang it downtown. So stay tuned for that. And with the balance of it, we are also going to fund Brush Monkeys, and we're going to put that right back into the district. Tomorrow morning, there's an email going out for our downtown merchants. We've secured a space with a group of artists from Ann Arbor, and they'll come in and paint windows. So for the first, small limited number, we're going to use the proceeds from t-shirt sales to put towards subsidizing window art, public art that's in this immediate next district, and with preference given to anything that creates kind of a walkable experience. So businesses will have the opportunity to customize that art, and it's just another quick return. We said we're going to do this, and now we're doing it. So thanks for letting us talk about it.
So this kind of really shows how we play above our population level. We are the downtown for like 300,000 people. We're the downtown for Novi. We're the downtown for Livonia. As your stats say, we got 400,000 to 500,000 people here in downtown Northville through the year. That doesn't surprise me at all because we are that downtown. So the cooperation that we're all looking at the future, we've challenged you. We're challenged each other. The chamber, Jim is looking at the future. I mean, he put perfume on the pig. He redid the whole chamber building and did all that. He did that. Now he's looking at how we work together on different things. You're looking at the visuals and working together with DPW, the township, the city, Parks and Recreation. It's exciting. I mean, just in the past week down at the River Park, it's different every day. There's bridges, there's walkways. I mean, every day is moving. Everybody is looking at the future very quickly here. And we couldn't do it without the cooperation and the new look and feel from yourself, Kate, from you, Jim, and from others. Appreciate that. Anything else? So that's all I have. I know I'm going to ask for a motion here in a second to go forward. Any other comments for Kate? Outstanding work. Keep pushing. Push hard.
I can kick it off. I was going to throw this out at the end, but since we did the Skeletons Alive, October, 20,000 people, 30% year over year increase. These moments don't just happen. So when we think of Skeletons Are Alive, Treats in the Streets, Witches Night Out, and then culminating with Halloween night for DPW, the police, the chamber, DDA, thank you to all the effort that went into this. I think a lot of people don't realize the effort that goes to making each one of these moments memorable, and it is greatly appreciated. You can't beat Northville in October, whether you live 10 to 30 miles or 10 to 30 houses, like a few of us in the room. The other thing I was going to highlight, so jumping to where the actual motion's going, I'm part of the EDC, so I had an opportunity to walk through those plans through town. I would highly recommend, if you can, take what's in the packet and go just check out what these are, how they could activate downtown. Outside of Kate periodically telling me to stop getting excited and flipping ahead, which happened 3 or 4 times, there's some really exciting things that are coming. The updates to Town Square, when we think about connectivity to Katy Street, we do not want 2 downtowns. We want one integrated community, and that is a huge opportunity for us if we do it the right way. So fully support. And then in terms of the funding mechanisms, we love grants. So TAP grant, keep doing the work, focusing on the multiplier. But with regard to the interfund loan, the one thing I wanted to just highlight is the partnership with DDA over the brownfield. Because DDA was a fantastic partner and is a big reason why we are looking at a daylighted river and a river park and how we brought that together. Whether it's the schools, Parks and Rec, the chamber, DDA, as a community, we are stronger through our partnerships. I don't know if skeletons are going to become a new currency. I thought that was a creative play, but I would rather always have a loan and interest being held within our community. So that money is staying here, especially if we can make it so that we're doing projects more efficiently, more effectively, and saving money in the long run. So fully support, love the creativity and putting the plan together and then managing this in time, and think that the long-term benefit for the community is going to be phenomenal. So thank you for everything you're doing.
Others on council, anything?
Kate, great job. Really, just from the downtown perspective, like giving them a reason to come, not just a season. It was awesome. And I love the chairs and tables. Thank you.
Thank you. Credit Stacy. We put a lot of work into it.
And pushing those to be open too, and you show them all that data when people are coming through, that those different stores should be open right up to 9 or 10. Done a great job on that.
Yeah. And I love the connection at the stairs by Lowe's Trace. It's beautiful on there. Thank you.
Friends,
For the sake of brevity, nothing to add.
Yes.
Just go sign everything that was said. Wonderful job.
good looking wig. Anything else, Ted?
No, I think I'm just looking forward to this. This is so amazing. And I said my little piece.
Great. So before I go have the motion, anybody that'd like to talk about this, go right ahead, Nancy Darga. That'd be Center Street, by the way. Yeah. Stay close, okay.
Sarah, I had to hang up.
516 North Center Street, Nancy Darga. As you know that, I am really impressed with everything. I think there'll be a new vitality and a new life with these proposed things. But I have a red flag. And as you know, when I used to sit at the city council, I voted against coloring the sidewalk black because we had sections of sidewalk that were heated. and so they would have to stay white. And so what it looked like is a guy with bald spots, and so I voted against it. And I'm now still concerned because I'm not seeing, what I'm gonna ask the DDA and the city to do is include the whole downtown. I'm seeing most of the focus on the thing, and I think rightfully so, because that's where the people is. But we have what looks like a patchwork quilt. If you start walking downtown, let's say from Starbucks and the Early Bird, it's back in the 70s. And then you cross Hutton, and then you jump to the 2000s. It has to be inclusive. So I'm hoping that whatever we do no longer have a stepchild on the two ends of the downtown area. The same goes for carrying these improvements all the way to the garage facility. And if you can't include it all, then cut something out so that it can all be included. I had people here for a week, my niece from Denmark, and my whole family came into town to see her. And we did a walking tour, and my sister, who's a graphic designer, noticed right away the hodgepodge stuff. Secondly is the trees. We have some very sorry trees on Main Street, and I'm hoping that is included in it. Third, what I'd like to do is I think the fire pit update is brilliant. Thank you very much, Kate. But I'm going to address the black hole. The black hole, when I was on the city council, is still the black hole, and that is that performing arts area. I do not think the glass works. It leaks. It doesn't help acoustically, and you can't mount lights underneath it. I think we should, just for before we spend all this money on that, replacing that glass, I think now this will be the third time that I'm aware of, we should look at maybe possibly an alternate design. When we put that glass thing in, I know you think it's iconic, but what I'm thinking of is that those two round things broke right away. We had to replace them right away. Then a couple of years later, we had to replace them again. And now just recently, we had to replace them again.
Nancy, I would ask you to have that deep conversation with Kate, because I think
Got it.
I've given you about twice.
So in closing,
And I love you, I know.
in closing, what I'm trying to say is let's evaluate the design of the stage area. I don't think the sunken works because we have to bring in portable stages. I think we need to look at that before we spend any more money on the black hole. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Nancy. Anybody else in council chambers? Going once? Come right up. Of course, we won't answer it, but you can let us know.
Shall we say Table 5, Lucy Wolf, 548 West Dunlap. When we looked at that whole plan, and this is a little bit selfish, and your mom's probably going to be on the same page as me, is when I look at it, I still see that the area where the dumpsters are back behind us has never really been addressed as far as making it look more aesthetically pleasing. With the band shelter and everything being right there, there's a ton of people that walk down there. So it's not just us looking at it, it's definitely a lot of people using that pathway. And of course, a lot more will be using that pathway, so
It needs
something.
Yep.
It needs
does.
something. It needs something.
It needs.
I believe there'll be a meeting on that in the next day or so. I feel the love.
It's a street.
Yep. Yep. So think about that with all, and I know I'm pushing on a lot of other things, but the look and feel, where the dumpsters are. Good. Anybody else in council chambers? Once, going twice? Okay. Anybody with a hand held on, hand up? I know there's 30.
You have no
people.
callers on the comment line at this time, Mr. Mayor?
Good. I'm glad we have a lot of them out there, at least listening. Good. So I'm closing it off for that. We are looking, Kate, you are looking for a motion to go forward from the city council, are you not? And you have a sample
Yeah, I
in
have a
there.
question.
I'm
Go
probably,
ahead.
anyone go ahead.
Clarifying questions.
I'm
before I
gonna
ask
fill in
for
the
that.
blank. Is that, okay,
Okay.
so I'm gonna fill in the blank on this and you can tell me if you'd like a different words used. So I move to authorize city staff to work with the Downtown Development Authority to develop the terms of a proposed inter-fund loan agreement for capital improvements and to bring the proposed agreement to city council for consideration and approval. So it says for specific purpose in a,
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, that's my error. Thank you.
yeah,
Okay.
improvements
It's
is
the
okay.
cookie I left in there.
So we have a motion,
Seeing if we-
if you're supportive of that motion, because you helped write that. Great, we have a motion. Do we have support for the motion? Any other discussion on this motion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. It's approved.
Thank you.
Let's roll on that, baby. Get it going.
Kate.
Looking for a chamber to come and ask us for all this good stuff too. Thank you. Next, we have one more on the agenda. Oh, no, we have two, don't we? So one, who are we having up here? I think Wendy, you are here for the approval of the foundation. Well, we did the foundation work. Now we're doing for the actual play structure, are we not? I was confused when I looked at the package, but still.
Yes, hello all. I'll be tackling the last two items on your agenda and I'll try and be a little bit speedy here.
Thank you.
So the first item is a contract award for the playground installation in Ford Field Park. On September 15th, we talked to you about a contract award for the site work. That was removal of the existing playground,
Right.
installation of walkways, et cetera. This now is for approval of the playground itself, the construction, the installation, as well as the safety surface material. So we have been working with a company called Play by Design, and this company is really unique in that they use a community design process to produce custom designed playground structures. And it uses primarily a machine or marine grade composite material resembling wood. And then there are some prefabricated structural pieces that are purchased and installed as well. In your packet, there was some information which showed some renderings of what the playground is proposed to look like. There is one change, and that is we're installing a hill, a feature.
Great. It's the greatest
but
feature next door to us at Old Village School.
Yes, and the kids love it. This plan here shows that that feature has a slide on it as well as a little bit of a shade structure. That's been removed because
Come on.
of the cost associated with the contract.
But not the hill.
No, the hill is.
Hill's there.
Hill
Rid of
is there.
the-
Yeah. So the final thing to point out to everyone is the project budget at this point in time. We're looking at project costs, a little over 1.4 million. Those are broken down into construction, the site work, which is at this point in time running at a little over 450,000, about 460,000. And then the playground installation itself. Also on the last page of your memo, you see a summary of the funds that have been raised through the community and through fundraising efforts. And it's about 500,000, a little more than right around 500,000. So incredible thanks to the Rotary Club and Rotary Foundation as one of our primary donors, as well as the Declan Carter Foundation that is contributing a substantial amount of money as well. So what we're asking for from you today is an approval of the contract with Play by Design in the amount of $809,803, and then authorize myself to sign the appropriate contracts and documents.
Questions?
Yeah, so thank you. It was really thorough background, your analysis, everything that was in the package was really helpful. I want to swing back to budgeting pact unless you want to take that one, okay? Well, I'm going to swing back, so if you want to, so what I wanted to mention, at everything. So I'm looking at only at their proposal, their contract, that we're approving. I think they inserted some things that are easy to remedy, because I don't think that was their intention. So, so I'm looking at dated October 24th. And it's to the city of Northville. So in the proposal, in the first paragraph, they say working with the Ford Field Playground Committee, blah, blah, but the Ford Field Playground Committee, this is the last sentence, will provide all materials and volunteer labor to prepare the site and construct the playground. I think they block copied that. First, the city will provide, the city will prepare the site, but nobody's, I mean, this is about constructing the playground, which when I get to the next page and, second page and third page, it's clear, but I think they did a block copy. So if you could mark that up.
Are you comfortable with that or?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
And this is the proposal. We'll also then prepare and develop a contract.
Okay, because
This doesn't have any of our standard language in it in
No,
terms
well,
of
just-
insurances or anything like that.
Because if somebody's picking this up, they'd say, well, wait, I thought they're constructing the playground. So they just made
That
couple errors.
moved,
And
absolutely.
then when it's great that they mention the Ford Field Playground Committee, in terms of their involvement. But this is where it's between the city and Play by Design. So
Yes.
just have them be cognizant
Yep.
of that. And I don't know, if somebody else was going to ask, I have questions just where the 104,000 that we're moving over.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that, okay.
Okay.
So we're moving $104,000. We're moving some money around because there was that shortfall.
Mhm.
But in that 104,000, there is a significant portion of it, 45,000 of it is a contingency / grant match.
Mhm.
Was that just a placeholder for something or was that some specific? What was?
So what is that one?
That's one of the line items, for lack of a better word, in the capital projects fund. And that was just and it's a line where it wasn't assigned to specific projects.
Right.
It was there for this purpose.
That was my hope.
Okay.
So when we're moving money, that was really sitting there as a potential pot we'd have to lean in
Where we-
anyway.
Yeah.
The reason, so that's good, because that's a significant portion of the 45,000. For the others, non-motorized improvements, bollards, I'm assuming Pear, Fish Hatchery, Cabbagetown. So those others, are we gonna roll those projects into next year?
No, those others the top three are carryovers from projects that have been closed out already. So it's funds
So
that.
none
weren't
of these
used.
are impacting?
No.
No.
Okay.
And in terms of, well, the first four, I guess. And then in terms of the Cabbagetown Playground, we don't have a specific plan for using those funds right now. Once that comes to fruition, then we'll need to.
So,
figure
and from a
money for
budgeting
that.
standpoint, we have it as a line item here with all of these being flexible funds in terms of
Yes.
how we use them. It is not a problem at all that we're going to move that and see that in our budget for next year.
Yep.
It could very well be in your budget again for next year.
Yes,
Mhm.
well, hopefully.
Yeah.
Cabbagetown would appreciate
Right.
it.
Yep.
So, yes. All right,
Great.
that was it. I just wanted to clarify. So that's actually pretty good news because we're not hurting or taking away
From other projects.
projects. Okay.
John, go right ahead.
So I do appreciate the update in terms of the Ford Field Playground Committee versus the city in their proposal. If it is the Ford Field Playground Committee storing and securing all construction materials, I vote Nancy's house over our house, but we can work out those details in the final contract.
The playground right to your house.
To be honest, nobody in this town needs to hear me talk more about the playground. This is really exciting. I appreciate all the hard work that went into it. Thank you. Thank the Ford Field Playground Committee for the efforts to date and really excited about the plans from Play by Design. Thanks.
Anybody else?
Well, good.
Good.
You warmed my heart by adding the hill.
Good. And if you've gone by Main Street, that's all the kids are
All they
playing
do, they love.
King of the Hill every day. They have all this equipment around. They're
Those are
all
the
the hill,
customers.
rolling down, doing
Customers
stuff.
Love that hill.
Thank you.
Yes.
And they spend a lot of money on all that equipment and
Absolutely.
It uses the hill.
Yep, so I'm glad you did that.
Kids want.
That's 100%er.
Thank you, Wendy.
Hang on right there. Just take a step back. Anybody in council chambers have any comments on this? Going once, going twice. Okay. Any hand raisers of the 30 or 40 online?
No hand raisers, no callers on the comment line at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Great. So we are looking for a sample motion that's in there that Wendy helped write.
I can
Please go right
take
ahead.
this
That would be
one.
appropriate.
I move to award a contract to Play by Design in the amount of $809,803 for the Ford Field Playground construction and authorize the Director of Strategic Planning and Special Projects to sign.
Support.
We have a motion properly supported. Any other discussion on this? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Go forward.
can I say yay?
Yeah.
Four
Good.
years. Awesome.
So we have one more thing, award, and stay right there.
Yep.
Awarding a consultant services contract to Grissim Metz on special projects here in the restroom. That is the next. every day is different in Norfolk. We are getting ready for 27, and this is just, each one of these, as I always say, would be the greatest thing or the biggest thing we've ever done. This is the next thing, $1 million worth of bathrooms. Go right ahead, which we have grants.
Okay, super. What you have in front of you is a request to approve a consultant services agreement for design of the Ford Field Park restrooms. The restrooms are being funded 50% through a Land and Water Conservation Fund grant, and then 50% through public improvement funds. They will be located in Ford Field Park, adjacent to the playground. And the intent is that there'll be 4 individual family type stalls. So on August 5th, we received proposals, and we received 6 proposals from an assortment of architectural and design firms. Those proposals were reviewed by a team of myself and then staff from the Parks and Recreation Department. Derek Smith, the director, Greg Morris, the assistant director, and then Nathan Riley, who heads up the park maintenance team. So all 4 of us reviewed the proposals. We narrowed it down to 3 companies that we were interested in interviewing. We interviewed them, and then based on that interview, we did some reference checks. We had some follow-up conversations to make sure we understood exactly what was covered in the proposals from each of the different consultants. And then we recommended or came to a final recommendation to award or suggest a contract be awarded to Grissim, Metz, and Andriese. Grissim, Metz, Andriese, pardon me. They are a local firm with a lot of experience in Northville, and they have actually put together a team to work on this project. It'll be themselves as well as M Architects and then Spalding DeDecker. We have done a lot of work with M Architects as well as Grissim Metz, and Spalding DeDecker is the engineering firm who's helping us with the site work project. And so there's some real synergy there, and they're local. They were not the lowest bidder, but they were the lowest bidder of those we felt most qualified to do the project for the city of Northville. Let's see, I talked a little bit about the budget already. There's $1 million for this project. And the budget had sort of an operating number of about 160,000 for engineering, construction engineering, as well as design and bidding, et cetera. So this is within the dollar amount we had for this task in our working budget. So I don't know if anybody has any questions.
So I'll start. Excited about the bathrooms. I'm the chair of the Conference of Western Wayne, or have been. And everybody who does parks, they forget about the bathrooms. You spend almost as much on the bathrooms as the park. So we are looking for our bicentennial and having this big concert deal, maybe get Bob Seger there because everybody wants to do a little statue of him. But every governor that's ever been a governor here will be here for that day. We are getting this ready for 27. And that's why I say this is the time to spend things. You know, don't wait till 29 or 30 or 31. We're trying to get it ready. I appreciate all the work. Everybody, the 18 cities and townships in Conference of Western Wayne, I've heard it 3 or 4 times. They forgot about the infrastructure once they do a park. So thank you. It's not a sexy thing, you know, put it in the can, no pun intended, but it's great that all the work you're doing on that. Fully supportive. I open up. Anybody else has a question on this?
One small one. So I don't want the tagline to be $1 million restroom. So, because there's.
It'll be an art form, I'm
there's
sure.
much more, well, no, I'm not mean architecture.
Yep.
No, I mean, this is accessible walkways, the plaza
Yep.
area.
Right.
There's shade structures, rain gardens, interpretive, some signage, and also supporting site amenities. So if you think of, so we just did the playground, which is very important, but then there's that whole area around the playground. And as you go in Ford Field, you know, and integrate towards Mill Race, that whole area, this is what it's about, including the much needed bathrooms, right? Which is very costly, as you can see from the budget list, but it includes so much more, and it pulls everything together on that, you know, east side of Ford Field West.
Thank you for bringing that up. I also wanted to point out shade structures. At least one shade structure is part of this as well. Because the restrooms provide a restroom but there isn't a whole lot of shade out there. So we do have shade structures in there also. So you're correct. This isn't $1 million restroom.
Well, just,
I
you
know.
know,
I
There's a
said
lot more.
it's under the whole portfolio, and we have what it encompasses there, but absolutely.
of that, just.
And I would ask
Yeah.
everybody,
Great.
and your comments here, we have the whole staff that's going to be working here in about 7 or 8 hours, that's doing the activities for the different functions tomorrow called,
Election.
the voting areas. So let's be brief. That's unusual for me on our comments on this, but let's go from, I'll get to it. I'll open up for everybody here. So anybody from up here, anybody else that has comments on this? I was told.
Nothing to add. I've been waiting on this since 2021.
Yeah.
Wendy.
Let's go.
Excellent.
Only thing I will add is kind of doubling down on the point that this isn't $1 million bathroom. The 500, we actually had $500,000 allocated for a bathroom, which was for the water infrastructure main section. The $500,000 grant is enabling us to do the walkways, the plaza, helping to cover an expanded water infrastructure and build out bathrooms that will be accessible to a broader portion of our community. And so just a lot of appreciation for all the effort that went into that. I know we had years, it almost became a running joke on fighting to have this at the top of the priority list as part of our strategic priorities, but it's fantastic that we've gotten to this point. Something
Public
desperately needed.
bathrooms in Northville. It's a concept. Good. Nobody else up here? I will open it up from those right here. Come right up to the mic, full name and address so they can hear you. I know there's 30 or 40 people online that will hear you.
Dan Huffman, Main Street, Northville. I was just concerned about if you've thought about any security at all for the park.
Sure. Well, it's under Parks and Recreation. We are looking at that and security, not only in the park, but the whole river walk in the future. So I think we're looking at that. We're probably adding more personnel for Parks and Recreation. It's an 85-15 split. I know we don't usually answer, but this is pretty straightforward. Correct me if I'm wrong, Derek. We are looking at all those opportunities, not only the bathrooms, but security there and our police.
Cameras.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're putting it on at Mill Race right now too, but we'll see.
Thank you.
So we'll get back with you directly. Already down. Sorry. I messed up my role. I usually don't respond, but go from there. I try to. Good. So you heard those here. Anybody online?
No one on the comment line at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Excellent. So I'm closing off public comment on this. I'm looking for a motion to go forward with it.
I'm happy to make this one as
Please
well.
do.
Move to award a consultant services contract to Grissim, Metz, Andriese Associates in the amount of $156,000 for architectural and engineering services for a restroom and site amenities in Ford Field Park, and authorize the Director of Strategic Planning and Special Projects to sign the contract.
We have a motion. Do we have support for the motion? Any other discussion? Seeing none, we can do this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Good.
What do they
Go forward.
estimate? They'll be done with this and then we have to go to the next step, which is getting it out.
Well, we are looking at doing construction of the restrooms in the late summer, early fall. If everything, if everything falls into place. This is using federal funds, and so they've got a much more complicated process for approvals, et cetera. I also want to, just real quickly before I step aside, we do have here tonight, Derek and Greg from the Parks and Recreation Department.
Thank you, Derek. Greg, for all you do.
I do want to comment, we work very much in partnership, our two departments, and they're a wonderful team and, just incredibly supportive. And I'm just very thankful that we have a team approach to doing these kind of projects. It makes a big difference.
Again, they oversee 750 acres in parks and recreation activities. This is part of that each and every day. It's phenomenal for a community of our size to have that kind of green space. So thank you, Greg. Thank you, Derek. And I said a couple of times, we couldn't do this without the partnership we have between Chamber and DDA and Parks and Recreation and Township in the city. So thank you. Absolutely. With that, we'll go to last, number 10, Mayor and Council Communications. Just want to say, Great to see everybody down at Halloween Friday night. It was outstanding. You know, we had about 400 candy bars over by our place, and it goes up by the 1,000 as you go blocks. It was an outstanding night, you know, and it was a Friday night, so everybody was here. They stayed here. Outstanding indeed. Get out tomorrow and vote, you know, show those. I know we don't have too many things on the ballot, but show we care in the city of Northville. We've done this on Tuesdays for hundreds of years. Let's do it again. Hundreds. Not here, but the country. Go. Anything else?
Yep, I'll be brief here. October was incredible. No need to add more. Great day for Ford Field. One thing I did want to address is the library. Seen the comments, the talk around town. The city does not have a desire for the library to move out of Northville. In terms of the info sessions that we've had, so I know 3 members of council were at the October information session. I believe Laura and I are going to be attending the one coming up in November, so that everyone is aware. Councilman Krenz and I are actually meeting with the library director, the city manager, members of the library commission to walk through their plans on Thursday, so later this week. These are active discussions, but I just want to very strongly reiterate, when someone says local leaders want to move the library to the township, that is not true. At least I can tell you in the opinion of myself, and I believe this body, is that we want to keep a downtown library. It is critical for our community, and these are active conversations that we're going to continue. So just wanted to address that. As the mayor referenced, please vote. Turnout has been very strong already, considering there's 2 people on the ballot, and just appreciate everyone's support and everybody being here tonight. Mayor.
Anything down here?
I'm good. Just real quick, thank you, Matt and Kirk, for raising your hands to become BZA alternates. We really, really need it. It's a tough job. It's a tough assignment. Get out and vote tomorrow. Again, thank you to our police department for their swift reaction on Rogers and everything they've done with Halloween. Tip of the cap to David Merrill, Chuck Murdoch, and 40 other people on the Cemetery Restoration Task Force. Go check out Oakwood. Almost every stone has been touched this year, which is almost a year ahead of schedule. It's exceptional. And then I'm going to co-sign what Councilmember Carter said. I think we needed to work with the library to find a set of services in a footprint that keeps us here. We don't want them to leave. We think it's absolutely the right thing to do to keep us here, and we have to find the right services and the right footprint that allows that service to stay in town, full stop. Thank you.
Anybody else here? You're good? I'm looking for a motion for adjournment. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Second?
Support.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Yeah.
We are adjourned. Thank you so much.